All right, I think you're good to go. Bill, if you want to just say we're back from.
All right, so we're back. We had some technical difficulties there. We apologize for all that, and the time is 4:53. We lost about 2 or 3 minutes there, and we apologize to those that are zooming in or those watching on YouTube. And we will go back to Andrea, and if folks have any comments or questions, I would like to ask one question. When will you know on the increase in funding that you requested from 41 to 50 million?
I'm not sure on that. That was just put in this, we'll know the next legislative session, but I won't know definitively what that will look like.
Okay, thank you. And congratulations on hard work and that 4.0. That's due to hard work. Anybody else? Mike?
I was gonna call it out earlier or later, but to call it out now, thank you for working so hard and getting that extra $70,000 on top of the previous grants too. Keep up the work.
Did you cover the Friends Boards fundraisers as well?
I got to everyone except for the one that's happening this weekend. Have a kickball tournament this weekend if you guys want to play. Sign your team up by Wednesday and it's gonna be fun. It's a double elimination tournament and all the proceeds go to the Friends of the CJC, which directly supports our mission at the CJC.
And what time and where is that
It'll
at?
start at 9 PM at the ball field or 9 AM at the ball fields. Yeah.
You want to say thank you to the city, I believe. Did they waive the fee?
Yes, huge thank you to the city and Jay over there has been helping us put everything together.
Very good. Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties right in the middle of your report. And the next thing on our agenda shows a public hearing, which we will hold off until after 6 o'clock. And so we can then move on here with our general business action items. The first one we'll start off with is whether or not any commission members have disclosures or conflicts with any agenda item that we have posted today. Doesn't look like it. Nothing, and then just for the public's information, we have moved the commission reports to the end of the meeting later today. And if we were running long, we would probably just allow the public to read those. They are all entered in. We've each sent in our reports and Dana has uploaded those. So just in an effort to be less of a time restraint on those that are here participating and watching while we move that further down in the item. And so I will move into the approval of the consent agenda items. Up here. Maybe. Okay, so I do not have the payment of bills showing up here. Am I? There's the bills report. All right, now we can go. All right, the consent agenda item. Approval of the meeting minutes for August 5th and 19th, 2025. And ratification of the payment of bills. The total bills amount to $1,212,056.06. Total payroll of $296,441.23 with a grand total of $1,508,497.29. And then we have the ratification of grant application for the Rural County Grant, Governor's Office of Economic Opportunity. Acceptance of the $70,000 from the state of Utah, which was just mentioned for the CJC renovation. A ratification of contract extension with the USGS salinity loading study, which is ongoing, and then the approval of emergency mutual aid interlocal cooperation agreement. And the appointment to the Housing Authority Board for 2 midterm vacancies. Approval of a $10,000 grant fiscal year 26 WRI grant number 7352. Cooperative agreement between Utah Department of Natural Resources, Wildlife and Grand County Weeds. And the final one is the contract for Moab's Old Growth Forest Video Sand Flats Recreation Area. Yes, Jacques.
Move to accept consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Commissioner Hadler, second by Commissioner McCurdy, all in favor? Motion passes unanimously, and we move on then to the approval of the Moab Tourism Advisory Board bylaws. And I believe everybody should have seen the red line version of that through their email and uploaded as well.
Looks like I'm presenting it.
My bad for not mentioning that, Commissioner Martinez.
No problem, I'm the liaison, yeah, so this was from the HB 456 that came on up here. We made some changes to the bylaws, it went to the Travel Council, Moab Travel Advisory Board. And they made a couple of changes as well, I think they changed a is to a there. And corrected a couple of things where the chamber had been listed as a liaison further down in. And they're back up here for approval.
Commissioner McCurdy.
I think McCandless beat me.
Okay, Commissioner
there.
McCandless.
I move to approve the Moab Tourism Advisory Board bylaws as presented.
Motion by Commissioner McCandless, second by Commissioner McCurdy. Any discussion on this?
No, just a comment. It's just really helpful if we can get the red line version into the packet. I mean, we received it after Jacques requested it, but it's really important, these bylaws, that we have the red line version so we understand what's being changed and the citizens understand what's being changed.
Yeah, I think everybody up here is very well aware of that. And it was simply a mistake somewhere along the line, and we will do better.
That'd be great.
Yes, Jacques.
Yeah, and I just wanted to expand on what Brian said. So basically where this is making the board go from 7 to 9, and it's including that city position as well as another at-large position.
No, it would not be another at-large, it would be another TRT or TRC.
Exactly, yeah.
Collecting member. But yeah, and then the chamber would stay as a voting member as well.
The collecting member.
All right, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. Those in favor? Passes unanimously, and we will move on to approval of the airport board bylaws with Mr. Gleason, the airport director.
Winfield, do we have the red line version of that somewhere?
Now we do. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
You all have that, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just a proposal to make sure that our FBO has a spot on the airport board. The FBO, as most of you know, is the company that does all of its business on the airport. They provide fuel, they provide aircraft repair. An FBO on an airfield, I often say that is your airport. When people come to an airport and they like it or they don't like it, they don't know who I am or what I'm doing to keep the airport the way it is. They interact with the FBO. It's the front leading face. They have the most to gain or lose by decisions that we make. So every other, the other two airports that I have been the director of, we've always made sure that the FBO has a spot on that board. If nothing else, so they can hear what's going on, because it impacts them more than it impacts just about anyone else. So that was our proposal, was to make those changes so that we have an FBO board seat. It's not going to be a long term, it would be 1 year. In the event that we ever have more than one FBO, which happens from time to time, I don't think it'll happen here right soon. But if we do have more than one, then every year it would rotate to another. Yes.
Oh,
You don't have a question?
Mhm.
Oh, I thought you hand up.
no worries, no worries.
Okay.
Yes, Mike.
Sorry.
Go ahead with the question. 2 seconds here. I move to approve the amended airport board bylaws as presented.
Motion by Commissioner McCurdy. Do I have a second? Okay, sorry, Brian. Seconded by Commissioner Martinez. All right, we will open it up for discussion if there is any.
And you're Steve, is that correct?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. and-
You're okay. No, I haven't met you before.
Yeah.
So
when we do the next item, which, right after this, I had planned to introduce myself.
Okay.
I can do it now.
No, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay.
So I'm introduced, yeah, I'm Trish.
Nice to meet you as well, and several of you I have not met yet.
So I'm just some clarity on this. The other airports you've worked for, you said it was common to have an FBO. And always as a voting member or a non-voting member?
Voting member.
Okay,
But there are times when they will abstain.
okay.
There are,
This is gonna be my question, like.
there are certain items where they would need to abstain, and we would ask them to abstain.
That would be.
When there's a conflict of
Okay.
interest. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was my initial thought. Like, it seems like there'd be some conflicts involved, so.
Yeah,
thank you.
and there can be, and
Right.
those come up, in which case they would abstain.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Melody.
Just on number 3 membership, the Roman numeral number 5 says 5 and then in parentheses 4 voting members. And I imagine that changed. It was probably 5 voting members and it's moving to 4 so that we can have 1 voting member for the CNY for the FBO. Is that correct?
Should be. Not sure. You'd have to look at the number 5 on these bylaws, Steve, and should have been a typo.
Yeah, it should be that. We can correct
Corrected
it.
it in parentheses, but they did not correct the written
Okay,
number.
So
all right.
we need to have that correct.
We can correct that those should be the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just wanted to verify.
So, sorry, I didn't catch that. That was.
Yes, Mike.
Can I amend my motion
I'm
to
sure.
accept the corrected typo, to 5? To 4?
Before, that's a
Thank you.
quorum.
And
4 to 7.
You're fine with the second on the.
second again.
Okay. All right, any further discussion?
Yes, just for the sake of the public, FBO stands for.
Fixed base operator.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that's going to clarify it anymore for those that aren't familiar with airports, but as I said, they are the ones who provide most of the services to the flying public.
Right. And for the public, that currently is Red Tail Air at Canyonlands Airport.
Yeah.
And they really are our face out there. They meet anybody from a single engine to a jet. They provide fuel on site out there. Sometimes they pump the fuel into them, and sometimes folks will do a self-serve out there, but these people are our representatives. They usually will meet if you're parking a long ways away with little electric golf cart
Yep.
type thing, and give people rides in and out. And
They'll tug aircraft, the hangars and
they'll start them.
they're the ones that hold the insurance to do that kind of work.
Yes, Jacques.
I just had a quick question pertaining so it's going to 4 at-large members. Is one of those terms up now, or how are we sliding in the?
We had a resignation.
Okay, great. That's all I wanted.
All right.
Just a reminder and Commissioner Dean brought this up, anybody that's out there that's on these boards, they have an obligation to go through, read the conflict of interest waiver, sign that off. If they run into questions, they can talk to me in the capacity of the county attorney to walk them through that. They have their own attorney, I'm assuming, but they just have to comply with any of the things that would trigger normal restricted conflicts. Those come up pretty frequent. So the best course of practice, come out ahead of it, acknowledge it, disclose it, and that'll be really, really helpful for them.
Yep.
And it happens to, I think, everybody on every single board. There's somebody that they would theoretically have a conflict with. So it's very normal, and we can just handle it. And they can get the forms online or through the HR office.
And when we have the representative that's going to do this, we'll make sure that they go through that.
Excellent. Thank you.
And then I would imagine also that Jessica's probably on top of this, but any board member, commissioner, we all have to go through our OPMA training. And so just making sure that they do that online OPMA training, and then they provide that, I believe, to our HR department.
Okay, yeah, let's keep record of that.
All right, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. And we will move on to the request for local funding for the taxiway F paving project at the Moab Regional Airport. And we will allow Mr. Gleason to introduce himself this time.
Okay, I'm also going to bring some backup that most of you probably recognize as the former airport director here. So, I hate to do this and it's going to be silly, but I think better when I'm standing. So I'm going to stand up. If that's okay with everybody. So, my name is Steve Gleason. I am the new airport director of Canyonlands Airport. I'm very proud to be that. I was very excited when that job opened up because I love Bhutan. I've always loved Moab. Just a little bit about my background. I started my career in economic development in Provo City. I loved doing that. I was there for about 5 years. I wrote a memo saying I thought our airport was the most underused economic engine in the city. Within 2 weeks, the mayor had assigned me to become the airport director. So that's how I wound up in airports. Prior to that, I knew nothing about them. So there was a steep learning curve. When I got to Provo, it had less traffic than we have here. It was smaller, I would say, in usage than we are here. And I had this grandiose goal to bring commercial service there and to build a terminal because Provo was my hometown. So I put a ton of effort into it. It took 25 years, but Provo is now, I was able to build 2 terminals. I was able to get Provo's airport to be self-sufficient for the first time. I retired from Provo, and then I went to Renton, Washington, where I worked for 2 years, and we were able to double the revenue that Renton, Washington was taking in. I say this so that you'll understand that my philosophy of all of this is I'm trying to be your subject matter expert. So I'm here to make recommendations of what I believe we should do if we want the airport to become the economic engine that it can be for this community. And with that said, we'll move into what we're recommending now. If I can share my screen.
And then for those of you that don't know, we've also got Judd Hill here, who is with Lochner, who is our engineer of record for the airport, and he is providing support and backup for Mr. Gleason.
Yes. Hopefully I can make this work. It's not perfection. Okay, so again, I do better standing, so I'm going to continue to stand up. So what we are asking for here is $666,902.53 to build a taxi lane that is unable to be funded by the FAA and yet is part of our master plan and is a place that we are going to have to build eventually. This airports thrive on pavement, on tarmac. If you don't have pavement, asphalt, then it is impossible for anybody to build a hangar because somebody's going to build a hangar and come out and start their aircraft on dirt and it chews up your aircraft, right? So asphalt is extremely important on an airport, and we have an opportunity here to piggyback on a project that is being funded by the FAA and get another taxi lane built when we can do it significantly cheaper. Can you go to that next one? Okay, so just to let everybody know where we are, if you can take a look at this, and I'm just going to show it to you that are in here, but Judd's going to show it as well. So the terminal is about right here. And currently our only paved surfaces, would it be better if I was on the other side?
Okay. Here. Yeah, maybe so.
Okay, I'll go to the other side.
You can just turn that whole thing our way.
So
Maybe like, so if we zoom in as
the
we,
terminal is right here. And our current taxiway system ends at this point. So we're proposing, the FAA is going to build the U, if you can show them that, Judd. Is going to build that U-shaped taxiway. We have AIP funding, Airport Improvement Grant funding for that project. Now, while we've got let's go to the next one now that we've shown them where we're at. Okay, so this is that U shape up close. This portion right here is the part that is funded by the FAA, and it's under construction as we speak. This portion here is not AIP eligible because it does not it just doesn't meet the criteria to be AIP eligible. So it would have to be funded locally. Let's go. Is there another one? Where's the next one? Okay, so the cost of building this section right here is $666,902. Our plan, our ask is that we get that money from the capital improvement budget of, or it is the capital improvement budget, that's what it's called. Want to make sure I get the names right. The capital improvement budget of Grand County, that they would basically, in my opinion, loan that to us. So we would take the $666,000, we would build this, and then we have a proposal that I've also done at both the other airports on how we can reimburse that and pay that back. Now, as all of you know, airport money that is made at the airport must stay at the airport, except in the case that we are paying back a loan. So what we did in Provo, what I'm proposing we do here is we created a one-time fee per linear foot of taxiway or pavement that someone is using. So all we did was take the cost of this project, divide it by the linear footage we have to lease out, and came up with a number of, I forget the exact, $221.40 per linear foot. So if somebody wanted to build a hangar, and I think it's on the next slide. Yeah, so yeah, that's not what I thought, but okay, that's okay. We'll stay this. So if somebody wanted to build a hangar, they would have to pay that upfront fee. It would be in their lease, a one-time fee of $221.40 per linear foot of taxiway that they are on. We did this in Provo with the idea that it would be repaid. And by the way, there the cost was $2,500 per linear foot. We did this with the idea that we would pay back the loan that we took from a private entity within 10 years. Turns out we were able to pay that back in 10 days because the demand was really high. And we'll get into in a minute how high the demand is here. But I also want you to know how much it will cost us if we choose not to do it this year. And even if we just waited 1 year and did it next year, as you can see on this slide, the extra amount would be $388,000 more. That is because of mobilization. That is because of re-engineering. Right now, while we can piggyback on this FAA project, we can just get it done for a lot less. And our master plan and our growth patterns all demonstrate that we are going to need to build this eventually. And it will never be cheaper to build it than it is right now. Why we can piggyback. Okay. What do we got next?
You want to go back to the diagram?
Yeah, just go back to this one because I know that one. Sorry.
There.
Yeah, because I forgot to emphasize. So somebody building a 100 by 100 hangar, which is a big hangar in Moab, but there are many and there's demand for them. They would be paying $26,568 for their linear footage that they are using, that one-time fee. And it sounds like a ton of money, but these hangars cost, $500,000. So folded into that, it's not quite as much. All right. A 40 by 40 hangar, significantly less, $13,240. Right. So it's commensurate with how big the hangar is and how much money is being put into the hangar. All right. That's our idea. So now let's go to the other one. Okay. Just to give you an idea of how important it is that we utilize the airport. This study was done by UDOT, and they did it for every airport in the state, but this is old. It was done in 2018. And it says what the airport contributes to the economy. All right, that's the whole economy, not just Grand County, that's Moab, that's Green River, that's everyone who benefits from the airport. But the annual economic impact of having our airport just as it is, and it's actually gone up since then, it would be almost $46 million a year being put into the economy because we have an airport. We can look at that and attribute a little less than half of that to the fact that we have commercial service. We have airline service, which contributes significantly. But the other half of that is because we have general aviation. So general aviation also contributes greatly because when somebody builds a hangar, they use that hangar. They fly in here, they bring people with them. And that contributes to the economy as well in many, many different ways. Did I forget anything?
Unless you wanted the specifics, if you want to talk about base aircraft.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about demand.
Demand.
So our master plan goes out for 20 years and they make predictions, pretty high predictions of what they think will happen. And they predicted that in 2044, our based aircraft would be
53 based aircraft,
and right now our based aircraft is
56.
So we are 20 years ahead of schedule because the demand has grown and we are running out of tie down space. We don't have any pavement to build a hangar on, none. This will be the first, the project we're proposing will be the first time we've had pavement to build a hangar on in a long, long time. Probably since Judd was here. So this will give us the opportunity to get some of those airplanes in hangars, stimulate that economy, stimulate that growth. So that's what we're asking. We're asking that we can get this money to build this while it's the cheapest. And then we have a plan to pay it back as hangars are built.
How many?
I'd like to just add some information real quick and then I'll call on you to go around, but the current problem that we have at the airport is a lot of people fly in here in their jets, they drop their passengers off and they leave. They don't buy fuel, they don't spend any time here picking up on the services that our FBO provides. And that's because they don't have anywhere to pull them in out of the sand and the sun. And so there is a huge need, and that's what this taxiway extension is going to provide for us. And so I thought I'd just give that on out.
Also, Bill, you want to let them know that next year we've also got an AIP project to strengthen our ramp and expand our ramps and hold jets, because right now the weight of certain jets, we don't have the ability to hold. So all of this comes together. Okay.
I think Mary's
So Mary, go ahead and then I'll go.
Yes, please.
Yes, so how, I'm looking at the graph here, so it's the second,
The center one.
Yeah, let me come in the front.
and are those rectangles and squares, are those?
Those would be hangars. That's where we would have potential
So it's
hangars.
like a smaller hangar and then a larger hangar, or how? Or would that be a smaller or a larger?
It can be either. We've just given
But it's
sort of
not
an
both.
example of what could be there. You could put a big hangar next to a small hangar. That happens all the time. It's who wants to build, when they want to build, and what they want to build. So then we lease out the ground. They build the hangar that they need for their use. So yeah, you'll have some large ones, but
Okay, so that's
would like to keep-
just kind of a.
just an example to show what we could do. So
And how many people are interested already? Do we have people that are already interested in buying?
we have 3 people right now that are waiting to start building until we get some pavement. So you'll see those hangars under construction pretty quickly. And it's been my experience that once the ball gets rolling and people see that I'm not holding them up and we're allowing them to build, it starts to roll pretty quickly.
Are they thinking larger or smaller hangars?
I would think that along the U, we would probably be looking at the larger hangars, and then along the part in the middle that we're proposing to build, that would be the location where the smaller hangars would probably work better, because that taxi lane will be narrower. So we want to make sure that we use the larger taxi lane to be able to get those jets and those King Airs and those larger aircraft.
So Trish, and then I'll go.
Just let me finish my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, so those on the bottom taxiway,
Yeah, you show them.
so are those hangars that will be accessed? Will hangars be accessed from that taxiway as well, or is that?
No, they are access from the ramp coming down this direction. And this is a wide taxiway and we see big hangars there. This one right here is ready to be built. They're just waiting for us to give them the go ahead.
Trish and then Mike.
So I'm going to make a proposal, and thank you. That was an excellent presentation, and I'm excited to have you in place. There was almost nothing in the packet, including the fiscal impact. And this is a pretty major expenditure for our
Yes.
county. So my recommendation is we postpone this item until the next meeting. Let me just, I can finish. And the reason being is under the auspices of transparency,
Yes.
we should put a fiscal impact in there. There was none. And I think there was a little misconception when I read it. I mean, there was nothing in there. So you had a great presentation, which I would recommend that proposal be in the packet. So I was kind of under this like, oh, it's going to be funded by the FAA and we'll get it reimbursed or something. I had no idea that it was purely coming out of our coffers. So my recommendation is we postpone this and make sure that the citizens have all the information. Because we've made 2 other large expenditures
It is.
this realm this year, and we beat the horse beyond dead.
And
The pickleball court, we beat it so that, people know what kind of expenditures are at
I
play.
certainly understand the concern. Yes.
All right, I'm gonna go to Mike, but there is a time constraint here, and so even though it's a recommendation, we appreciate that. We will want to be moving forward with this tonight, so.
Well, it's
Mike,
really the agenda packet was very,
Jump on top of Mike. Others, please, Trish.
well, then the agenda packet is incomplete and it goes against our ideals of transparency.
Mike, and then I will
Can I
go
talk?
to Jacques. Thank you.
Who's going?
Mike.
Okay, yes, please.
I haven't ever heard department want to pay us back too in that fashion, so that was good. I would have liked to know in the fiscal budget or the fiscal impact also. I see the benefits and see where money would come back. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I also have a hard time talking to my constituents.
Yeah.
In the sense that a lot of what I hear directly to me, to Mike, you can fix it, and I'm one of 7 here, but is my constituents can't reach Salt Lake can't reach Salt Lake still daily, or
Right now, we're under contract with a certain airline.
I definitely understand that.
We don't want to get too far into the weeds there, but that contract is coming up and I am very, very committed to making sure we reconnect to Salt Lake.
Okay.
Now,
That hits my points, but
Yeah.
I don't know, have you gone over with Gabe? Have you gone over with Stephen Stocks' office here on contractual payment backs or like paying the rent due or the?
Well, what I've talked to them about is we simply put it into the lease as a one-time payment.
Okay,
So you write it into any portion of the lease as an amended portion of the lease, and it simply says the linear footage upfront impact fee for this hangar will be this much. And then they write you a check for that before the lease can even be signed. Then that goes directly back to repaying this. Now, I know the pickleball court was probably very tough, but I don't think they.
apples to oranges is what I see there.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, what would be the timeline of this?
Well, and we can't tell for sure. We know that there's 3 hangars ready to be built now, so that's going to be some revenue coming right back in.
Sorry to cut in.
No, you're
If you
good.
ask, would it be written in that repaid within 10 years?
My ask would be to give us 10 years to repay this. Yeah.
Okay,
And I would hope, as happened in Provo, that once that ball started rolling, we would get it repaid a lot quicker.
okay.
All right.
That's my question.
Jacques, thank you.
First off, I agree. I definitely wish that we had had more information in the packet. I was totally caught off guard as far as the financial impact goes too, and I don't understand why that wasn't in there.
I can sum some of that up to the fact that I'm brand new here. I can also sum some of the fact that we're coming here not as early as we maybe should have, because, I've been here 2 months and just evaluated how we could even try and get this done. So I've just been trying to work to make sure we can get it done. I'm still learning process and procedure. So, sorry.
I don't think that's on you, Steve.
Well,
I don't either.
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's all
Sure.
there.
But a few other things, yeah, as far as the impact fees, we should account for inflation with those, right?
Of course.
Yeah, right. Okay, and then Yeah, is there,
But hold on, but we don't have to because we will have already expended the money, but we can add a CPI adjustment.
sure, because that money will be worth less in 10 years
Yes,
than
it
it
will.
is today.
Yes, it will.
So-
And we can add a CPI adjustment
Sitting
to
in
that.
that account then, right, okay. And then as far as the hangars go, like I just did super quick math and you'd have to sell 48 hangars, 48 of the 40 by 40 hangars. Right, to pay back the loan amount, or 24 of the 100 by 100, is there?
At the current amount, we did the linear footage
Right.
and we tried to keep that impact fee as low as possible. So we did it at build out. We could increase that linear footage amount and potentially pay it back sooner, but I want to make sure that we are not, all right. One thing I believe is just because a government can charge something doesn't mean they should. So just trying to keep those fees as low as possible. But yes, we would pay it back at build out, which I would hope would happen within 10 years.
So we're hoping to get those paid.
It is, there's no guarantee
Of
of that.
course. So, yeah, would you,
But every hangar we build does contribute, as we showed in the other slide, does contribute to the economy and the general area.
I understand the value of the import.
Okay, good. But, okay, anything else?
Anybody else? Mary?
I just wanted to follow up is that, I have an incredible amount of respect for Judd because I was fortunate enough to be able to work with him when he was the manager, head of the airport. He had this huge, large change in our airport, and it was very costly and a very painful and at times experience for all of us.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of, I want the airport to be successful. I see it as an economic driver. But I am just really taken aback that we didn't know until right now, today, what the fiscal impact was going to be, when that's a big decision to make on the spur of the moment, and then now to hear if it was timely, as I'm hearing right now.
Yeah.
Then it being timely, it seems also that the information should have been given to us in a much more timely fashion than
Well,
we've received, and I'm not blaming you, but I'm just concerned that it fell between the cracks, it fell down. And it's put me in an odd and
let me speak to that just a little bit. When I first found out that we could build F, that's what it's called, Taxiway Foxtrot. When I found out we could do that and piggyback on this AIP project, I knew that the county was not exactly overflowing with revenue at the time, right? So it was a tough ask. So I looked for other ways to possibly fund it. Those did not happen. And when I went to Mark and Quinn, they said that it might be easier and cleaner rather than involving a third party to do the same thing from the county. So I went at it from a different perspective. So by the time I got around to this perspective, which I do believe is the right way to do it, it is a better way to do it than to involve a third party. When I got around to this part, I got the information out there as quick as I could. I'm sorry if I didn't get you enough information, and I will do way better next time.
All right, Brian, and then we'll go from there.
Anyone else first, yeah, and then my second.
Perfect, yeah. Can you explain to me a little bit about the timeline? And why the crunch on the timeline?
Okay,
All right. You're trying to run this concurrently. When does the project start? It started, right?
It started. In fact, they wanted me to have told them and made this decision about 2 weeks ago. But I knew we couldn't do that. The reason is they have mobilization fees. They have mobilization issues. They have to secure more people to come do it. They've only got 60 days to complete the whole project. I've offered to give them more time because we are coming at this a little bit later. But it's because of the contractor. If we can't give them a good heads up or heads down, then they cannot plan for it. So we're just trying to save us the 388,000 more that it will cost us in the future. Now, the whole goal here is to get hangars there so that we're selling fuel, so that we have more people, more activity at the airport. This is an investment that we make in order to move the airport closer to a self-sufficiency, which is my goal.
One more question. Hold on, if I just finish up. Sorry.
Sure, please do.
Yeah, and then so this project has already started. This would have to happen.
Yeah, it would have to happen soon. We've got to tell them go or no go.
Okay, and this is one of your first actual acts as being a director right here. And so
Yeah,
I'd say this is probably one of the more, would you say this is one of the more important projects that we have the opportunity for right now at the airport?
yeah, and I wish it had come when I was here for 3 years and kind of understood the lay of the land a little better, but it didn't. It came when I was here for a month. So, we're trying to put it together the best we can.
Okay, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion then. I would like to approve the funding for the 666,590.
902.
902, I was guessing.
53 cents.
And 53 cents as from capital improvements for the paving of taxiway.
All right, motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner McCurdy. Further discussion. Mike, did you have a?
Question, has the repayment contract, has that been worked on? What do we have?
We don't have that drafted yet, no.
Okay, but it would be drafted upon or before receiving funding, standardly?
Yeah, I can draw up a lease and have Mr. Stocks look it over. It's a pretty simple addition to our standard lease.
Yeah.
Just in the front of it.
Jacques, please, and then Melody.
I'm gonna abstain from this. I generally support the airport. I actually have a business that kind of depends on the airport. I totally see the value there. I'm honestly horrified that we didn't get any more information on here. I think somebody knew how much this would have costed, and the fact that we're just gonna write off almost $700,000 without with half an hour discussion and no prior information about it with the financial crisis that we're in right now is, to me, disturbing and mind-blowing, but I'm not gonna vote against it. I'll abstain. I'm sure it'll get 4 votes.
I'm gonna go to Melody. First, I'm gonna weigh in here. I'll take the responsibility that we didn't make sure that this was in the packet. I am the liaison to that airport board, and we can continue to make in references that this falls on somebody's shoulder. I'm glad to take that and put it on my shoulder, although there were 3 of us at the gender review and nobody brought it up or questioned it when it went through a gender review. There was also multiple staff people that were involved in this, and I'm certainly not blaming it on any one person. I'm more than glad to take the responsibility. I think that Steve's done an awesome job and that we have to move this forward, and we can continue to try and keep making political points here, like we're gaining something by bringing this financial thing up, when I sat through 2 years of you guys spending money up here at on this dais, like there were, we didn't even vote for the budget that you put out last year. We can go on and on and on about financial things going on behind our back or intentional misuse or all kinds of things. I'm saying simply, let's do something for the good of the community here, and abstaining, I would recommend that you vote for it. I think that's the better thing to do ethically, but I'll go to Melody and then Mary, you've had several options. I'm not gonna go on with this debate going around
I
here.
am a commissioner and I have
I
a right
appreciate
to
it.
speak.
Yeah, but we don't have that right to keep interrupting.
Yes,
Melody,
I
if
would
you have the
agree
chance
with
to
that.
speak,
Melody
each
is up.
person has
I have
spoken.
one point I want.
Each person has spoken and Melody is up.
So I just want to make sure that to Jacques' point, that we do put in that cost of living or inflation in there because of the payment. If it takes 10 years to pay it back, we can add that in there. So I think Stephen will make sure that goes.
Yeah, and all of our leases, we're just in the process of going through all of our leases. We're looking for ways to find revenue anywhere we can. We're gonna implement PFCs for the first time. That's never been done here, which both Judd and I kind of are shocked. That's never been done. That's a passenger facility charge, which the FAA allows us to charge per ticket. So we're gonna implement those. We're gonna put CPI adjustments on every lease that goes in, and we're gonna meter and charge for water. So we're looking for ways to make sure that this airport gets as close to self-sufficient as we possibly can. But one of the ways we do that is we have to invest in pavement because we cannot bring more people in if we don't have them.
And each one of each one of those hangars is bringing money into our economy, absolutely. And I don't want to see the charge go astronomical to those. I mean, we could make money on this, obviously, but I don't think that's the right way.
Which is what they ended up doing at Provo. We made a lot, but it was a different situation. Those were corporate hangars. Those were people with G650 jets. And it was, I just don't want to do that to the people that work here.
All right, I'll go to Trish, Mary, and then Mike.
For you first.
It would be my third time, so I have to wait for everyone's second time.
Thank you.
And
Is that why you're holding up 3?
yes, that's, normally you just get the one, and today you get 3.
Okay.
Again, Steve, I want to reiterate, I think your proposal's excellent. I appreciate it. I am going to vote against it simply really under the auspices of being transparent to our communities.
Okay.
And to Bill, I want to speak to, well, first the agenda review team. I thank you for taking responsibility, but I do think it was the whole team. We have 2 items where there was no red line version. I don't know what bylaws you're changing. I can't parse that out unless I have a red line version. So I'm gonna, and then this having no fiscal impacts, which we've actually had multiple, Mel and I talked about this today. We've had multiple items in the past with no fiscal impact. So it's really important, that we have those agendas as complete as possible. And I know that's difficult. I know it's herding cats sometimes, but this was an excellent proposal that should have been in that agenda, and the fiscal impact should have been there. So I'm going to vote against it because of that. And then the last thing I want to say is it's not political, Bill. I mean, I hate to tell you, we are politicians. So you keep using that term, and we're politicians.
Yes.
This isn't politics. I'm not going to run for county commission again. I'm making that statement so everybody's clear. I'm in for 3.5 more years, and then I'm tapping out, and I've done my public service. So it's not political. I think that the community has the right to have a complete agenda and understand the impacts. That's what I'm saying. So this isn't political. It's just, thank you. It's an excellent proposal. I know it's a good thing for the airport. I'm voting against it because of the manner that it was brought to us, which our agenda review team should know better.
All right, I'm going to go to Mr. Tyner over here, administrator, before I go to Mike and then Mary.
Okay, I'll just be real quick. I will try my best to ensure, along with our office, that every piece of the information that is needed is in those packets. From this point forward, I will pay particular attention to that. I assure you, there was nothing done purposefully on our behalf, but we will work to ensure that you don't have that issue in the future.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah. If I make a proposal again, which I hope I do, I'll make sure that I spell it out really early. This one was a little bit quick. We had to get going on it.
Mike and then Mary and then Melody.
Never do I love seeing 700 grand spent on a whim.
Nor do I.
Thank you for having a payment plan, a sales pitch plan there, to the more airports. I really take that my constituents would really want to continue to see work out there, but you've heard my words.
Yeah.
I cannot drive these home enough. I hear it weekly right now. It was daily, now it's down to weekly. But those larger contracts or commercial contracts really hit my constituents, hit my district hard. A lot of our medical care in our district goes to Salt Lake and can't easily attend some of their trips. And so I just wanted that hurt one.
I understand that. I think some of your constituents might also be people that are out there building those hangars. And working on some of those things.
Yep.
So there are jobs that get created by doing this type of construction that is helpful.
Mhm.
Also, the reason that we're going with the capital improvement fund is because it's a fund that's what it's for. I mean, it's not like they can take that revenue and do something else with it. It's there for capital improvements. So if there is sufficient amount in there, I think you're going to spend it on a capital improvement somewhere.
Mhm.
I'm recommending, because I'm only the airport expert, other people know other things. I'm recommending that we do this with some of that capital improvement money, because you're going to make a capital improvement somewhere. And the best, in my opinion, best investment you can make is in your airport.
All right,
Yes, when and if done, I would love to see it. I would love to see it done. I would love to come out and look at it hands-on.
Come out anytime, any of you, call me anytime. I'm happy to talk to you about anything.
Mary and then Melody.
I already apologized to Chris and Jacques when I came in because I was on the agenda review. And I made an assumption that when I saw no fiscal impact, well, then I assumed it was going to be similar to what we're so often dealing with when we're dealing in the airport, where it's a loan, but we get it paid back. I mean, it's an FAA and
Right.
just I went along the thing that it was going to be similar to things in the past. And we don't see the written agenda summary at the agenda review.
Right. So, and
So-
I apologize. I made some assumptions of my own. And so I apologize. There was not more information in that. I'll make sure there is next time. As I said, procedurally, some places do things differently. They don't always want the numbers on the front of
All right,
the.
I'm going to vote for this because I'm not gonna cut my nose off to spite my face. I don't wanna spend $100,000 to get something I could get for 60.
Right.
600. And I think, and I agree that the airport forever has been a driving force for our economy and our group. I just think it needs to be, we as a commission need to make sure that our agendas are done in a way that's transparent.
All right,
Good deal.
I will just make one reference. I believe Grand Water and Sewer now, their impact fee is up to about $13,500 plus or minus to build a house. I don't think this is out of reason, and I think most of these hangar owners will be more than willing to do that to be able to get their airplanes inside. But with that, I'll call for a vote. Those in favor? Those against? And those abstaining? All right, we have, that passes with one against and one abstaining. Commissioner Hadeen against and Commissioner Hadeen abstaining. We will move on to the next. Steve, thank you for your time and see you on the next one. Okay. Approval, see where we at? Approval of the independent contract agreement with GPP Consulting for internal auditing services, and this went through the audit committee earlier. Where we approved the hiring of GPP, and this fiscal, although I'm not totally certain, Mark, you might have to help me with this. I believe this is going into next year's budget was my understanding. This is not a fiscal hit on this year's budget and it will be included in next year's budget. So this is just an approval of the contract with GPP Analytics and authorizes the start of their work, which I believe is just putting together the contract. Is that correct, Steve, at this point? For the internal auditor work? They're not starting any actual work this year.
No, they were going to start.
There was that email this morning from Julian that outlined a more specific timeline.
I didn't see anything from Julian. But this has no fiscal impact this year. GPP is gonna start this work next year. They prefer to start in January and sure where we want to go from there. This, I don't even believe this requires a vote at this point.
It's because there's not approving anything. They are going to start work next year. That'll be something that you all will have to look at in the budget.
Okay, that's why I was feeling a little like,
Yes.
I feel like this is backward, like it feels like we have to go through the budgeting process and approve the budget before we could start
If we were gonna start,
contracts.
excuse me, don't mean to step on your toes there. If we were gonna start this year, we had found money in other budgets. Julian came back from GPP and recommended that we start next year. That was after it was already gone through the.
So I guess,
review.
okay, so I guess
So we just,
what's the purpose of this?
Basically a discussion and we're moving on.
Oh, okay.
waiting for the doc.
I just want to make, I think Julian's great being on the audit committee, and I met him, and I think he's going to do quality work for us. But I also want to make the point that this is considerably more than we spent on internal audit. I think previously we'd spent under 10,000 a year on internal auditor. Is that right, Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
All I wanted to say.
I think that we're seeing a considerable expansion. And looking into finances that we never did in the past. They're also auditing us to a standard that we've never seen in the past either. We simply had a CPA who looked into our books and gave us a report out of it. And this is a government, I forget the acronym for the standards, Mark, and I apologize, but we are getting a consulting firm here that is meeting a standard that we haven't in my history of counties, so on the internal audit. So that's all this one really is, the discussion. We can move on to the next one if anybody else wants to weigh in on this one, otherwise.
Oh, so it's kind of mute point at this is what we're saying?
Yep.
Okay, great.
It'll come up actually next in the budget committee.
Okay, great.
The line item for it.
Remember how many hours it was that this was for? Is it like 120 or
No, it was more than that. It was 240 hours.
240 hours? Okay.
All right, the next one is another one of mine, and this was one that was recommended that we consider at the last meeting. I know that there has been quite a bit of back and forth regarding public lands and protecting public lands, and this just allows us to join a group that represents many different entities, but starts out representing grazing and access to our public lands. And so this does have a fiscal impact to it. The membership would be $1,000, and this gives us an opportunity to join in with a much larger group that works all the way back at a federal level to keep our access open on public lands. And so I'm not sure where we start here, Trish or Mike. I'll start with Trish, given she's Lady Mike. I don't know.
So I have, but I have them very concise. So Bill mentioned this represents many interests, and that's not correct. This is a national organization that represents cattle and sheep producers who hold 22,000 federal grazing permits across the western United States. This is a national organization. They do have a Utah branch. It is a 501c6 nonprofit which promotes common business interests, so not a 501c3. I can kind of get into this idea that basically we're sponsoring a 501c6. And I just want to make it clear that Grand County, I looked it up in 2024, we have 94 nonprofits within this county, a lot. So if we start kind of parsing out spending monies to all the nonprofits that we want to support, it's going to have a large fiscal impact. So what this organization does, it simply, when I looked at like what you could do to support them, it said, just add your voice to our ongoing efforts, right? And so to me, I am more than willing to add my voice to their efforts and supporting public land grazers. And I'll get to that, but that's kind of where I think we should go. I did speak to the chair of our conservation district because I really think it should be our conservation district that should, if they want to sponsor this organization, I think it would fall more into their purview. she didn't really mention being interested in that, but I said, can you give me a number of actual public land grazers in Grand County? And she said, there's about 10. I would say there's probably 5 that actually live and have grazing rights in the county. So what I mean by that, for example, is the Cisco Desert. We've got the Jensen's grazing cattle out on the Cisco, but they're live in Emery County, right? So we've got to have both. You know, I can think of D. Taylor. Not even Buzz Bates is grazing anymore. So it's a very small amount of people that this applies to. I looked at their sponsorship because that is what you guys are asking for. And it's really major, it's either companies or major University of Wyoming, right? Department of Ag. So really major entities. There's actually no counties, no municipalities shown as sponsors, even though their board of directors in Utah, Tammy Pearson is a county commissioner from Beaver County, but Beaver County is not a sponsor. And you'd think if you have somebody that's on their board of directors, you know, Beaver County has way more grazers than we have, that they would be sponsoring this. So my proposal, and I think anyways, I think I'm more than happy to, you know, support grazers. But I do think this is a very small sliver of who we should be representing regarding public lands, right? Access Fund, Friends of Indian Creek. I mean, there's just endless organizations that utilize public lands, that if we're going to parse this one out, we probably should now start doling money out to all these various nonprofits that have their own interests on public lands. So that being said, I'm going to make a motion that we, and I'm not sure how to do this because there's not a letter attached. I would just state that let me kind of go back here. We add our voice in supporting the ongoing efforts of the Utah Public Lands Council, but we do not become a sponsoring member of Utah Public Lands Council with a fiscal, you know, with the fiscal impact that it would mean for the county.
Second. Motion by Commissioner Hedin, second by Commissioner McGann. Mike, you're up.
Twofold here. Advocating, one of the statements made in their letter and that was included in the packet. Advocating for resource management strategies that prioritize local stewardship by promoting policies that balance economic opportunity, resource conservation, and recreational access while protecting grazing rights, preserving water resources, and ensuring long-term sustainability for both public and state lands. And that entirely has my buy-in. I was going to make a motion just the same. So I'd like to make a secondary motion, or what is that called? Substitute motion. I'd love to I can get the summary. Move to approve the joining of the Public Lands Council and pay the associated invoice for sponsorship member of $1,000.
Second.
Substitute motion by Commissioner McCurdy, seconded by Commissioner Martinez. And it looks like we got Mike, are you finished?
No, I'll go with the next round.
Okay,
Back to me.
Doc, and then we will go.
Those are great words you read, Mike, but when the rubber hits the road, it's a sheep and cattle organization. It's grazing.
Okay with that.
Grading is such a small part of the overall public lands picture in Grand County. I sat behind a desk at a busy bike shop on Main Street, and the only complaint that I heard about our trails were that there's too many cows on them. That people were running through cow poop. I told people that's traditional, right? It's not. It's just deal with it. It doesn't bother me that much. I sold some fenders out of it, but I'm not going to support it. Cattle and grazing organization to the tune of $1,000, and we can't even write letters supporting public lands for other purposes. I think, yeah. I honestly think you're trolling us, Bill. That's what I think.
Think what?
I think you're trolling Trish and myself.
Interesting. Trish, up to you, and then Mike, and then we'll go to Mary.
So I just want to reiterate, oh, sorry, you did say me. So when you go to their websites, the first thing that it says, Mike, is a national organization that represents cattle and sheep producers who hold 22,000 federal grazing permits across the western United States. It's the first thing it says. So I think they're very clear about what their agenda is. And again, I support that agenda, and I'm more than happy to write a letter of support. I think we're getting into a slippery slope if we go, we're going to send $1,000 to this organization that's, you know, stewards of public lands. So then where's that line drawn? There's so many organizations that do something for our public lands in this community. There's so many. Friends of Indian Creek, one of the 501c3s that I started. Can we give them $1,000? I guess I'll put that on the agenda for next time. Brian's like, go for it. No, I will. So I think a letter of support and stating that again, that we want to add our voice to their efforts. I'm more than happy to do that. And any of the proposals I made in the past were simply letters. They weren't fiscal obligations. And once again, I'm going to bring up that we keep stating that we're in a fiscal crisis, and yet it really doesn't seem like it because we keep spending money out of budget.
So Mary, and then Brian, and then Mike. Okay,
I'm keeping track, don't worry.
thank you.
No, it's, and I do find it interesting that other commissioners that are already in it they're not sponsoring, their county isn't sponsoring. I find that interesting. And then we're gonna turn around and sponsor it because, you know, for a 501c6, what this is there are lots of organizations in this town that are nonprofits that do a great deal to help us, such as Rubicon. I mean, they come into our community once or twice a year and spend lots of time helping us deal with litigation. You know, and I support them. I support them monthly. I give them a donation monthly. But we have other nonprofits that help our homeless, that we have more homeless than we have grazers. And we're not donating anything to help our homeless. I think if we're going to start sponsoring nonprofits, I mean, I know we have a process where they apply, and then it's decided during budget season. And so, you know, I just think it's interesting that we're wanting to support this nonprofit, and yet it's a nonprofit that supports and helps so few people in our county, where there are nonprofits that support our county, such as Team Rubicon, that we aren't sponsoring. So I don't see the reason we want to sponsor it.
Brian.
Yeah, thanks. Now, I've seen a lot of help that this commission has given to nonprofits. And maybe not just a fiscal, but helping them out with legislation, helping them out with all types of ways. But I have not seen too much from this commission as helping out any type of our agricultural, right? Push them on through.
That's not true.
Not that I've seen. In fact, it's something I wanted to chat with you about.
I've got something.
Let's,
I mean,
right, hold decorum, please.
Yeah, thank you. But I do think that our ranchers are underrepresented. You know, I mean, that was one of the founding, industries here in Grand County, and it's slowly slipping away. And I think this is a good chance to go ahead and just, even if it's $1,000, right? Just to make sure that those people know that Grand County still has their back and that we still want to look out for them, right? And that we want to make sure that their interests are represented, because I mean, how much time did I spend on e-bikes? I mean, I'm not an e-bike rider, right? But I spent all that time, right, on trying to help out the e-bike industry, right? I think this is a small token right here to be putting towards the ranching industry that does play a big part here in Grand County.
Mike, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. and
I
vote.
understand. Just ahead in this, agenda, we're looking to donate or to put 3,000 towards the Dark Skies Compliance Initiative and a memorandum of understanding with Friends of Arches and Cane Lands to administer the Dark Skies. I really love supporting ranchers, cattlemen, grazing rights, multiple, and the stated multiple uses that organization came from. There's no hidden malice with this. There's no, if we can join and put our voice to it, and it costs $1,000, I love doing so. And in that, if you have a list of nonprofits that need $1,000, you can put them forward too. We're all commissioners. We can put it on the agenda. Like we have that capability. If it gets voted down, you have that capability as a commissioner.
Melody.
Well, I just wanted to bring out, there's other levels of membership. I don't know if anybody's, I know Mike's motion was $1,000, but there's a $500 and this is $250 one as well. So I don't know if that's something that we would be.
I'll let
Did it
mine
change
stand.
or just?
I'll let mine stand.
There's other levels.
Going big.
Anyways, that was all I had to say.
All right, I'm gonna call for a vote on this. Those in favor? Those opposed? And those abstaining?
I'm gonna abstain. And may I speak to that really quick?
That
May I speak to that,
passes
please?
4 with 2 against and 1 abstaining, Commissioner Dean abstaining, Commissioner Hadler and Commissioner McGann against.
Yes,
And
that
if
was
it's
good.
very brief.
Very brief, thank you. And I am highly supportive of ag. My father had at one point 1,000 head of cattle. So, and I currently have horses and pigs and every sheep and you name it. I think that this was the wrong way to go about it. Again, I think a letter of support would have sufficed. And by the way, Brian, I am bringing an ag protection ordinance. I have my flyer. I've been working on that with P&Z and I do think that will do more for our ag whole community than, so I do work very hard with the conservation districts. I do a lot with UDAF and all of that, so I'm working on it.
Let's move on to the next agenda.
I want to make it clear that I am a commissioner and I can speak. And I know you want to keep our statements brief, but you do not control how long a commissioner can speak. So
Have
But
levels
you-
of decorum.
You cut them off.
And you're outside of that, so thank you.
Me or America.
And let's move on to the next item. Thank you.
So, citizens.
Okay, we will start with citizens to be heard. And then we will move into, we have a public hearing that we need to open before we go back to our agenda items here. So citizens to be heard. Do we have anybody new in the commission chambers that would like to speak? Doesn't look like it. Do we have anybody online? All right, 6 o'clock citizens to be heard, which was actually at 6:06. No one has a desire, and we will then move on to our public hearing that we need to open, and Ms. Hoffheim is here to help us with that.
So this is a rezone for 4.1 acres at 4329 Sunny Acres Lane, parcel number 235-9. It is currently zoned rural residential. They're asking for LLR. It is currently a 4-lot subdivision. They would like it to be 6. Planning Commission forwarded a unanimous recommendation of approval on this. This is also being recommended for approval by staff. Public hearing requirements have been met. It was posted for 10 days for both Planning Commission and County Commission. It was open tonight and closed Wednesday at 5. Staff has found it compatible with the general plan and the future land use map. to say anything else, or if I could
Introduce,
No.
introduce.
Yeah, you gotta say your name.
I'm Aaron Holland. I work with Set Engineering and work with Todd Neiman, who was the applicant. He had a subdivision with 4 lots, but with the infrastructure needs that it's going to take to service it. Fiscally didn't make sense to do it with the 4 lots, so he's looking to basically get a couple more lots in that, and that requires an update. Anything you want to add to that?
I'll just be brief. Todd Beeman, the property owner, and one of the main reasons for this rezoning application is just to try to help out the employee housing area. But several employees that just can't afford the larger lots, that type of housing, so it's an attempt just to try to help out employees. I'm not a land developer, or I plan on being one. I just have this property that makes sense to try to rezone it a little bit smaller so we could make it more affordable for employees.
One thing I would like to say additionally is the applicant's narrative talks about, the applicant's narrative might say SLR.
I believe originally.
Yeah, and there was, after discussions with staff, we decided to go for, LLR. So I'm sorry if that was confusing. Staff report only speaks to LLR. Just the narrative was something a little different.
All right, and this is just to open a public hearing, so we can,
Don't we get to ask questions?
you do get to ask questions. I'm just reminding everybody that
I know.
public as well, that this will be open through, I believe, Wednesday at 5 o'clock next week. And so at that point, why anybody that is weighed in, why those will be taken into the record also. There will not be a vote tonight, simply a discussion around this. And I will start with Trish and go to Mike.
No, Todd, I appreciate you speaking to, because that was the question that I wrote, is why did you want this rezone? So I appreciate you speaking to that right off and kind of going through that. And I appreciate you clarifying, because I do think there was quite a few citizens there at the planning commission thinking it was going to small lot residential. So I appreciate that you're moving into large lots. So I think that's quite palatable to that portion of the valley. So thank you.
Okay, question, Mike?
Nope.
All right,
I'll
anybody
see
else?
if they come in.
All right, folks, the public hearing will be open and it will be on the next commission meeting agenda for a vote.
Thank you.
Yep, appreciate your time. And we will go back to our regular items, and I believe that the next one is formalizing the subcommittee for the Trail Ambassador nonprofit creation / future, Commissioner Hadler and Commissioner McCandless.
Yeah, do you want to go, Melody, or?
Go ahead.
Awesome.
You can go ahead.
Okay.
I'll add anything if I.
Yeah, so we discussed this at the workshop at the last commission meeting. And we discussed that this is basically to provide an on-ramp to a nonprofit or another organization to take over the Trail Ambassador program from GCAT. We've had 2 meetings already. Melody and I have been present at both those meetings, as well as the folks named in the agenda. And they are the current people running that. They are essential to that as well. I think that Melody and I should continue to be the commissioners working on that. And we had an idea that the third position, originally Trish had thrown her name forward, and I appreciate that. Brian attended the meeting today, which was nice. But it looks like we're going to be going forward. This is super timely. We don't have much time to get this off the ground, and it looks like we're going to have frequent meetings. So I think that we might be best served if we kind of had a revolving door third commissioner at those meetings, so that everyone kind of gets an opportunity to weigh in and to help out with this, and also to get a better idea of some of the things that we're working on, maybe help figure out some solutions. So that's kind of my proposal, but I'd love to open the discussion.
Melody, do you want to add anything to that before we open it up?
No, I think it's good. I think that if that way we can invite those that either have pertinent information or set the time and another commissioner that's available can come, but that way we can just continue to just keep it going and not try to correlate times for everybody. There's a lot of people, that are going to these meetings and just belong. So I'm in favor of that.
Yes, Mike.
I got you. I'd like to make a motion. I move to formalize the committee for the Trail Ambassador nonprofit creation / future with Commissioners Hadler and McCandless. And as stated, open position for third upon availability, and other county staff, elected officials, Attorney Stocks, admin, Maddie, Caitlin, Anna, Tyson, and a representative from the Southeast Utah Health Department.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner McCurdy, second Commissioner Hadler. Further discussion?
Oh, sorry. Did that encompass what it meant for that revolving third door, Mr. Stocks?
I think the intent's clear. If you want to put 2 commissioners on with the idea that there's an ability to have a third person join, I think it's formalized enough. It's obvious intent of what you guys want to do. There's no extra person.
All right, Commissioner Dean.
Just a question for you two, like how will you administer that? Will you put out just like, hey, we've got this meeting, who can come, and kind of first come, first serve? What are you guys' thoughts on that?
The way I see it, like today, for example, Brian had been working on something, and I think his what he'd been working on was relevant to the conversation. So I think Maddie actually reached out to you. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think having, when Maddie's the one who's putting the agendas together for these, and if there is something specific that a specific commissioner might be most helpful with, or it's under their kind of, something that they'd be most interested in, I think then it would be appropriate for that commissioner to be invited. Otherwise, I foresee, if it's kind of all the same, then just having someone come to at least one meeting would be really helpful to just kind of get an idea about where everything's going.
Yeah.
Or we can just share the notes, because Maddie's been really great about updating the notes. And I think I'd be happy to share those with the commission, and that way you guys can stay updated with what is happening as well.
And I think people would like to go, but it was like, yesterday or whatever, I was kind of had it on my schedule, and then Brian was going, which was great. I just didn't want to have a quorum, right? So I just think we need to make sure we put it out, if Maddie's putting it out, that we do delineate.
And I'm happy to be the person who I can reach out to other commissioners. I texted Brian real quick this morning just to make sure he was going, just to make sure we didn't have a quorum. I'm happy to fill that role to make sure that we don't exceed 3 commissioners too.
That'd be great.
Just a question, in formalizing this, do we need to mention that we have Attorney Stocks, the admin, Maddie, Kelton, Anna, Tyson, and a representative from the health department? That all should be in the motion, or should we?
Mike
wasn't.
He put it in there.
Yeah, I know that it was, but is there an advantage to doing that rather than just having like the rest of our subcommittees, which is just, just Zoc and Melody, and then invite people as needed?
You can invite staff as needed. I mean, listing everybody, you have control and permission for the folks here. Otherwise, you're getting into the day-to-day operations of county. You really don't have any control over the health department. So, I mean, we can encourage those folks to come, but just because we put them on a subcommittee doesn't mean they're going to come.
So should we amend his motion slightly to just?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Your commissioners, if you want to name myself, if you want to name Mark, I think that's all appropriate, and within the scope, you can invite other people of the public. Again, at the end of the day, the goal behind the subcommittee is to provide a recommendation and to kind of address this issue in a more fuller view, and then bring that information back to the commission. On the third rotating commissioner, I don't know how in-depth you guys want to work on the issue. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's going to another meeting. And I don't know how much you guys are going to fight each other to go for that third spot to go to this meeting. I will share my notes if it becomes really contentious. Right. But it was an hour and 40-minute meeting. You're supposed to be there for an hour. I think it's good and productive. But I don't know how much that's going to become an issue. So I just put that out there.
Mike and then Mary.
I'd like to amend my motion. I move to formalize the committee for the Trail Ambassador nonprofit creation / future with Commissioners Adler, McCandless, and Attorney Stocks and Com Admin
With a third commissioner to join upon invitation
on
of
available
Commissioner
for invitation.
Adler.
So, and you seconded, right, John? And
Yeah.
you're fine with that again? All right, so
Sorry, man. I didn't know.
No worries.
Technically, we do have an amended motion, so you vote on the amended motion, then you vote on the original motion. Eventually. We're doing it by the book.
Just have a quick question.
sure, Mary.
Now I know when we started the Trail Ambassador program that the Southeastern Utah Health Department was part of the original. So I think we're expecting to be part of this process.
They're more.
Maybe it might be a good idea for Jacques to give like the elevator pitch of where we're at with everything. Just a brief overview of who's involved and what the philosophical ideas and stuff. Maybe I'll just, may I?
Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Yeah, you were there.
Just to kind of throw out what we've done so far. We've had a meeting between the commissioners, GCAD, with everybody from GCAD, representatives from Trail Ambassadors. The health department's been in the room at the meetings. We've had CNHA at the meeting as well as Friends of Arches. It's been a warm conversation about the future of the program, where it's going to go. If it's going into nonprofit, we're packaging that up, what that looks like, assets, what financial needs it will have. All of that is right now at the very early stages of the conversation. I'm there to kind of help give ideas on how best to move it along. There's not been a solid number established of how much the county is willing to give or how much it will need. It's very, very early in its beginning stages, but there is a lot of conversation. There's a lot of support and interest of where the program goes. But we're really so early in the infancy stages of it that a lot of the decisions haven't been made. We're trying to get things moving quickly though, so that by budget time, we have an idea of what it is that's being requested. I'm trying to stay vague enough that any of the things that the entities have said, I don't bind them. I'm not trying to put them
Okay.
in a bad spot, but that's a general.
I think that's a great synopsis.
Yeah, thank you. That makes it somewhat.
Okay, so then if there's no further discussion, we'll vote on Mike's amended motion, seconded by Jacques,
To amend the motion.
to amend the motion. We're voting to amend the motion.
Correct, first.
All right. Those in favor of amending the motion? Passes unanimously. Now we will vote on the amended motion.
Correct.
The amended motion by, again, Commissioner McCurdy and Commissioner Hadler. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We move on to the mid-year vacancy appointment of liaison to Moab. Oop, I skipped one. My apologies. Thank you. Appointment liaison to the Moab Area Community Land Trust Board. This is a new position. Commissioner McCandless is bringing that to us.
Well, they just were here last meeting and asked for liaison appointment, so I had Dana put it on the agenda for this meeting. So
All right.
that's all.
Commissioner Martinez.
I move to approve the appointment of Commissioner McCandless as liaison to the MACLT Board.
Motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner McCurdy.
Yep.
Further discussion? Yes, Mike?
If you ever need a fill in, I'm usually free during that time frame. So let me know.
Further discussion? All right, seeing none, I call for a vote. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. We now move on to the number 11 that I tried to jump to.
I just really quick, how often are those meetings, Melody? It wasn't on the agenda.
Once a month, and I did talk to Caitlin today and Billy last week, and they had mentioned that it's actually during our commission meetings right now. And so they're gonna move it, regardless of who the commissioner was gonna be because of it, and they're also gonna add to their bylaws. And they're gonna have kind of a information packet for whoever liaison was gonna be, so that this is new for them as well. So they're just in the process of making sure that they have all of their ducks in a row. But I know that they wanna invite the city to the conversation as well, so have everybody on the same page. And yeah, it's once a month.
We get a, not to speak over anyone, we get a heads up, they invite the housing subcommittee too, so we know when their meetings are going out. So, or Mackle's meetings going out, so we all get to see it, but if you need, I mean, you have me, Brian and Trish on that also, so we get to see when those meetings are.
All right, the next one is the mid-year vacancy appointment of the liaison to the Moab Chamber of Commerce. That one has Commissioner Martinez leaving the chamber for the P and Z appointment. And we are in the process of appointing a replacement to the Chamber of Commerce. Brian,
Move to approve Commissioner McCandless to fill the liaison vacancy.
Yeah, there.
Numbers.
motion by Commissioner Martinez, second by Commissioner McCurdy to appoint Commissioner McCandless to that position. Mike?
Sometimes I conflict, sometimes I have open, but if you ever need a spot filled, you let me know. It goes meeting to meeting on that one.
Okay, yeah, it conflicts sometimes on agenda review depending on the month that has the 5 months or not.
The month of Tuesdays.
I also very much enjoyed Chamber. I was on it for 4 years, so I'd be happy to pick up also.
All right, further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Passes 6 with 1 absent, Commissioner Hedin being gone. We now move on to the resolution authorizing the filing of the cross appeals for the 2025 centrally assessed properties. Attorney Stocks.
So this is the continuation of the appeals from Mid-America Pipeline. We've discussed this a number of times. The reason why we cross appeal when they appeal is to protect our best legal argument without going into details about what those are. That's what it is. It's put in your packet as a resolution. And additionally, we'll have an update on that later tonight. If you had additional questions, I could answer those now, but I probably encourage us to save any, and if there are substantive questions, then we can put it to the end of the agenda, go to closed session for the litigation issue and then come back out. But it's up to you folks on how you want to proceed.
All right, Mike.
I move to approve the resolution authorizing the filing of cross appeals for 2025 centrally assessed properties.
Motion by Commissioner McCurdy, second Commissioner McCandless. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the resolution? Passes unanimously. We move on to the ordinance for the Enbridge franchise agreement, again with Mr. Stocks.
It's got my name on it. It's an older franchise agreement the county's been doing repetitively for many years. Quinn's not in the room. The only change that they had on this document was reducing the amount that we were paid from $500 to $50, and now they've replaced it back up to the $500. It's been indicated to me that this is something that we've consistently signed this franchise agreement with Dominion Energy, or now they're called Enbridge. I defer to call admin. It's not really my puppy. It's got my name on it though. So,
and I was present in that meeting as well. I believe Mark was there. And this really just gives them access to all of their gas pipelines. They keep this in place so that they can work on those during an emergency or even regular scheduled additions that they have going on. Yes, McCurdy.
I move to approve the ordinance with Edenbridge for the franchise agreement.
Motion, Commissioner McCurdy. Second, Commissioner Adler. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. We go on to number 14, the ordinance amending the special events policy. This is Commissioner McCurdy and Commissioner McCandless.
So I mostly wanted to change this to 18 months, and that would be the cutoff, so there would not be. So there is still a few changes in this that I didn't read before the weekend, and so I have some changes on the red line I'd still like to propose. And that is, if we go to the high impact events, and we talk about, so the intent to apply, let's see, on our packet, page 11. Page 11 is the high impact events. And so the intent to apply must be submitted at least 6 months, but no more than 18 months is the change that I'd like to see. But with that change, I didn't go back and do all the math on all of the quarters. And so they only went back 3 months. So where it was Q1 events, which are January through March 31st, would be the first Monday of the July, but it's changed to April. That actually, I think, needs to go back to back another 3 months.
Yeah.
To like January. So that, because if they're gonna put their intent to apply in 18 months, and we wanna be able to approve those within that larger time frame. And so I'm thinking that, so yes, the first Monday, so we need to go back 3 more months from all these, not what's on the actual packet. So they've already gone back 3 months, but they need to go back 3 months, 3 months more. That would be the only change on that, then we'd be giving them at least a year to, that'd be 12, that's still only 12 months. And so I'm curious if we want to go back even further. Any comments on that? And that's really it, except for down below, it does say, if we go to page 12, it says that maybe it's right in there, but it says that, oh no, it's that the application may request commission consideration at a quarterly review earlier than the designated review, and I think that we need to take that out. So where it would just be, you are coming to your meeting, or I mean, if you put in one at 9 months.
Or not.
If you put one in 9 months and you'll fit in that's bad, but we're not going over 18 months.
Yeah.
So it'll be 18 months.
Cutting in line.
But that needs to take it out as well. The applicants may request commission ITA consideration at a quarterly review earlier than the designated review date provided above. I need to make sure that these dates match, and that's what I have not done. I did not read this in advance. I just looked at it. I was like, oh, good, it's changed. And then when I really started diving into it, it's not all the way correct. So
Should we postpone it?
I think we
We
could
could
just,
just make the
I think we
changes.
could just make the changes because we just need to make them back. So instead of being April, it needs to be January on Q1 events. And then on Q2 events, let's see, so commission review date meeting in April.
Well, you,
Yeah,
Uh,
that would be going,
not to cut in, while you do that math real quick. This is following along with our special events coordinator, Jenny Beth's position. Some of her requests to, like Commissioner McCandless said, set a cap. They can't apply before this, and as long as they fall within the application period, we can look at it, but it's the best of both worlds as far as I could see.
You just want to direct in the motion that.
yeah, directing the motion that the event, the quarter event review correlates with that 18-month timeframe. And let them do the figuring out right now. And then also on that B, take the applicants may request commission IT consideration at a quarterly review earlier than the designated review date provided above to take that out.
And make adjustments to the table that's located.
And make adjustments to the table below, which will match the wording above.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion, yes.
And that, Melody.
All right, motion by Commissioner McCandless, seconded by Commissioner Hedin, and Jacques, I know you've been waiting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate all that. The only thing, I only have a concern about events that you just have to consider your event further out than some, like, are we handicapping like an event organizer who might want to do an event sooner than that, but now they'd have to wait until the next year to present their event that far in advance, whereas previously they might have only had a little bit of time to present. And they'd missed the deadline for their.
They'd still be able to present it. So if you want to do an event like this year in December, you could still put it in, because I think it's a 60-day on high impact. They have to have it in 60 days prior to the event.
Okay.
So you can still do it in that short time frame, but we're giving those high impact events a longer time frame to go out and advertise.
So the window just goes out, it doesn't cut it down.
No, it doesn't cut it down. We're not cutting it down. So they can still come in a short time and get event. But it's just so that, you know, a lot of people will go to an event and wanna, man, I had a great time, and they wanna re-sign up for next year, but they're not even getting approval to have next year. And so this allows them, so if we go out to 18 months, it allows events to continue. And also with this change, we're gonna put it on next agenda, Jenny, Beth, and Dana are gonna go through the events that would fall into this, and notify them that they can cut, that they're gonna come up a little earlier, so that they can get their
List of
events.
customer service.
So not like
Okay,
service.
yeah, that's just, that was just a question.
Think the attorney has. So maybe instead, and Commissioner McGann, I think just said this, maybe have it be a range. So put your deadline, because that's what the document contains now, which are deadlines. Put whatever your deadline is, and then say that they may apply up to 18 months prior. So whenever you want that in last, put it on there for your high impact, whatever date that is, and say they can apply up to 18 months prior.
Does that encompass the 60 days? It has to be 60 days.
I don't know where you're setting, I don't know where you guys are setting your deadline, where your endpoint is. But wherever that is, they can apply 18 months prior. So how far in advance do you want it at a minimum for high impact event? Is that 60 days, 90 days?
What, the same as it was before, right?
Right, we're giving the maximum, not the minimum.
Well, we want the minimum.
Right, exactly.
18 months from, so. That's for you guys to decide.
Maybe state that question.
Sure. Where is your actual deadline? How many days in advance of the event do you want them to apply for a high impact event?
Minimum of 60 days, maximum
Maximum
of
of
1
18
year.
months.
Perfect.
Yes.
So you'll want to put that last date in for your quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and then put 18 months prior to that date. And that's your range.
That's right, doing a range rather, I see what he's, yeah,
Yes.
you're doing a range.
So
So,
amend motion as.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Oh,
So there's one that keeps getting missed out, and that's the review date.
Yeah.
Right, and so that, I think that's something that we need to go, because this is basically a contract. You say you have to come in on this range right here, and that we will give you an answer by this date right here. So where does that fall in?
Yeah.
Right, I mean, just because we say that the intent to apply is 18 months, I mean, you could have the commission sit on that for 9 months, and these people could be going, when do I find out about my?
Yeah, so it has a commission review
Yeah,
date.
so yeah. So it's, our portion is timeline to apply, but there needs to be, I think, somewhere in there on a timeline of when they will be reviewed.
Yeah, so right now it says that quarter 1 events, so it's January 1st to March 31st. So that would be the first Monday of
Does that stick?
that would be the first Monday of. It's like almost in a year and a half, it's a year and a half away. But then it does have a commission review date, the second commission meeting in April. So they have to have it in by the first commission meeting of whatever that month is, which is not going to be April. But then they have,
Table 2 lays out all your deadlines.
Yeah.
If you go to table 2,
but that's just the deadlines for,
commission action. That's separate.
yeah.
That's what we're causing action. Is there any event right now where there's an applicant holder that wants to apply right this second?
Yes.
Oh.
Yep.
That they're out 18 months before their event right now? Because if there isn't, we could put all these changes in there, throw the range in there. Work on it a little bit more so it's clear and coherent. Cause I range is a good idea, but we just want to make sure that we're reviewing them with sufficient amount of time that makes sense. You have your early window and then you have the standard window. There are events probably that are going to be expensive enough that they'll want that earlier review. And then you've got last minute circuses that come in that will want that shorter review. So I don't know if there's one really, chomping at the bit to be considered out of order, maybe. We consider that.
We want just a deadline maybe on the review period. You want to say 60 days?
Well, again, you want to tie your review from that event date, because we don't want poor Jenny Beth to have to review, 15 different application periods, and you guys don't want to either, because you guys want to have a batch of events that are gonna happen on a particular weekend or event.
Yeah.
One option is just let them apply. They will show that they're very on it and that they will be in for X amount of time, but that doesn't give them any guarantee that their event will be greenlit. So maybe I'm happy to do whatever. I can suggest that language, but again, it doesn't clean it up on the back end for Jenny Beth on when she's going to be reviewing these without making adjustments to your table 2 deadline that applies to the commission.
Okay, so do you think you could have that all wrapped up, or language and everything by next meeting?
Sure, and we can combine it with whatever legacy changes that Jenny Beth's making.
I think that makes it a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
As long as you guys are all fine with that.
Is she making legacy changes on that legacy list?
You had mentioned that she was coming to the legacy, doing a
Well, that was gonna have to be another conversation, because like we didn't get it done. I was just clarifying the legacy information from
that's-
you.
that's-
Like that we don't actually have an ordinance for legacy or a resolution for legacy. We just have this legacy list that's like sitting out there, but like it doesn't have to be adhered to by any commission because it's never been set by an ordinance. So I was thinking that we need to do that as well, but not today.
Yeah.
You know,
That's an as well.
it needs to be a set up actual thing, because it's just kind of it's kind of ad hoc. Oh, these are legacy events,
Yeah,
but-
and where you guys draw the line is, you guys could draw the line wherever you'd like, and whether it's gonna be based on a particular policy of like one motorized event, one hiking event, you could set it up that way. That might be pretty difficult. And instead of what we had last time, and I remember Commissioner Clapper was really involved in it on where he wanted to draw the line. But I can't remember, we had different on that chart, we had different parts of it that we talked about, but there isn't an easy way to put a hard and fast bright line rule that would apply across the board.
They're pretty easy for putting.
Adding events
on that list.
Sure, adding events are easy, but I don't know that you can create a policy unless it's like X amount of years for them to automatically transition into a legacy event.
Well, I think we needed a meeting that we review them.
Okay.
Sorry, I spoke to somebody. Yeah, a meeting that we review them on an annual basis or every 3 years or something like that, on that legacy stuff, but
Sure.
it's a different conversation than this here.
If you codify it in these, if you wanted to codify it in this ordinance, that could be the same mechanism.
Well, to complete that and to complete this, I think it'll take
Sure.
some time for work. I think we could vote on this by just changing all of these dates back 3 months from the red line that's already there.
Okay.
Would be our deadlines and so on each one of those, they would be, first Monday in April it was July, it needs to be now redlined to April and go back to January.
Okay, and then you guys, do you still
one of
want the
those.
commission to review the high impact events on the first Monday of the month based on the event quarter? That only gives them at best a 90-day notice. Or do you want to have, because that's what the rules say right now, is when you guys review that. So even if we just change when you guys receive that application, it doesn't change when you guys do the review.
No, we're changing the review as well.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the key to it. We're changing the review time, so they have more time to approve it.
Yeah, Trish, and then Mike.
I think we gotta put this off till the next meeting. I don't think it's quite ready.
Yeah.
It's half baked, so let's fully bake it and bring it back. Is that okay?
Hold on.
Mike.
Fully bake it 2 weeks. That's just fine. I'd like to encompass some of the deadline changes or some of the review date changes and some of what Commissioner Martinez said too. Into this, along with get a fully redone and run it past our special events coordinator and have her, I want some input from her too. But I think that 2 weeks is not gonna cause a problem. I have on my list 3 active event applications right now. And that's what I was trying to rush through, but I don't think this will get in the way of them, so.
Commissioner Martinez.
So just going back to that review, what if we had it to where we reviewed each of the applicants every quarter. Right, so every quarter we review all the applicants. So if you're in on that 18-month, right? We review all of the applicants, whether it's short-term or long-term, that quarter. Second quarter, we have a set date, we review all of the applicants, whether you're, as long as you're within that window, right? And your intent to apply is in, then on that date, we review the applicants. Just a suggestion, I'm not trying to go either way on when we.
And this is you guys, this
Yeah.
is you guys' decision. The only thing that makes it tricky is if you have an applicant that's 18 months early, you were going to be judging them against whoever you viewed the applications with simultaneously. It does encourage people to apply much sooner, and it benefits that. The downside is you might not get the full breadth of the applications if you're reviewing the early birds at that point.
Get the worm, yeah.
Commissioner.
Yeah, and to that is, so I think just to extrapolate on what Stephen was saying, you might have like say one type of event, like say a large motorized event one weekend, and then they get it, and then that would discourage someone else from going forward at the same time, instead of looking at them evenly, right? And then the first one might get approved, and the second one might not even try because they know that it's.
And the one count, again, I'm not trying to become part of this, but the other thing to think about too is, I guess you can have multiple events on a weekend. I think that does put additional strain on, and I keep thinking of events like that one Jeep Safari, that's it the whole weekend. But I just think when we do this, what I talked to Quinn about was making sure Jenny Beth is aware, because she has to talk with them to culminate all these applications at the same time. And it's gonna put a lot of strain on her to have to prep for all the reviews for different applications at different times on different quarters. That's fine. I'm just, considering her preference, and it would be lovely to see if she wanted to attend one of these late night fun meetings.
Yeah, I mean, I know that she's been having stress, her email that she sent, or, to us that was in the packet a while ago, when this is supposed to be a workshop, but it was that is the issue she's getting, is so much pushback, because it does say that we can look at them earlier. And so people are coming in and asking her, and she has events that are already, like, for example, we'll just use some of the running races that are here all the time. They already have all their applications in, waiting there, but yet then, because this other event has come in and said, I want mine to come early, and that one comes early, even though those other ones are sitting there, that they should have been shown at the same time, which was the same date.
Sure.
But, they already had those in, and they were obeying the rules. And so by making this be no more than 18 months, and then I really like the idea of whoever's in at that 18 months. So every 3 months that we review, and they fall on those levels. If you're a 6-monther that put yours in, or you're an 8-monther, you're all going to get reviewed at that same time from when you put it in. But yes, early bird does get the worm. And a lot of our events that do year after year after year are gonna love the 18 months. And then the others that are newbies, they're gonna kind of have to take the weekends that are left over.
One other discussion point or thought. Do we care, like, for those people that apply year after year, like we're talking the marathons, Jeep Safari, Outer Bike, whoever it is. I think those eventually shift into that legacy. And then your early applications, those are ones you're like, you don't know, they're a new dance partner essentially, and we don't know a lot about them. So we'll bet them more than we will with the legacy events. If we made the legacy events, does that fix this whole problem?
No, I don't think so, because there's people that don't fit in that, like we have people that have been doing 3 to 4 year events, but we wouldn't be really ready to put them on the legacy list yet. I mean,
I'm just trying to avoid creating 3 different review periods, one for legacy, one for early bird, and one for last minute. But I think that's probably where we're trending.
Mike and then Brian.
Twofold, this is a political statement. This is huge to our economy. We need to get this done. Bring events in, like it. Bringing people here is what we're at. We need to have this meeting. I'd like to have a discussion as soon as possible. You tell me the dates. Stephen will come Friday.
Yep.
I will come sit down Friday mid-morning.
I can do that.
Can do that. Mark Tyner? Okay. Yeah, hopefully Jenny Beth, can you get that information to Jenny Beth? I would like to do this as soon as possible. Second part of that, I'd like to table this agenda item till next meeting or postpone till next meeting.
Have we had a motion made on this?
I had a motion, but in a second.
Christian.
Tristan. So
Correct.
Vote it down. Do whatever you want.
well, do we have to vote it down?
Yes,
We do have. to
Yeah.
vote it
you
down.
have to vote. It's a motion that's been seconded and it's before the body.
All right,
Easy vote down.
Do you mind if I make a
sure, Brian.
quick comment? So yeah, I mean, I do agree. I like this idea of making it fair though. I think that the 18 months with review periods, right, makes it fair. Whether you get in or doesn't matter what your event is. I think that anybody who gets their stuff in early should have the chance to, they're more organized and probably a better event for us, right? Somebody who's going to be more organized, I think is going to be a better event. Yes. And then second off, just for Mike's point that he mentioned, and I just want to put a little plug in this, is we are going to be discussing the special events grant at the next MTAB meeting. And it looks like the subcommittee is going to be pushing for those grants to be in by January 1st. And they're going to be, Madden and Camp Stories is going to be presenting on how we might be able to cast a little bit of a wider net for different events.
Nice.
So,
And 30.
Perfect.
That's Trish.
Just a comment.
Drinking a
for
rock
my-
star.
Hey, Mike, this is a comment. We're politicians.
Okay.
I'm just throwing it out. I know. Okay.
We need to do this. We need.
And I've waited a long time to, so. Any statement that, well, never mind.
Okay, let's vote.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, all right, so all in favor of the motion that was presented earlier by Commissioner McCandless, seconded by Commissioner Dean. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just, this is,
All right.
this is to say we're for that motion.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
Can
We
someone
would
repeat
need
the
a
motion?
vote against to table it, come back here.
Hold on.
No, the motion was to accept the changes that are in here.
Okay.
So
got it. I just wanted to make sure
gonna-
I understood.
Not gonna.
Right, so
I'm good.
all of those in favor of this motion that has been presented? Those against? It fails unanimously. All right, and we have had a request by Steve Evers to remove the cooperative agreement on the dark skies. It came in an email, I believe, at the very beginning of this meeting. And that came in, it looks like, to the comm admin and myself. So
That's been postponed or.
that's what he's asking, is that we just remove this item from today's meeting. So with that being said, we will skip number 15 and move on to number 16. Appointment of an interim planning and zoning administrator. Commission administration and the commission administration's office.
Chrissy Hoffman has been acting in this capacity along with several other roles. Sean Yates, the county engineer, is willing to assume this role and to assist in the operations of the planning and zoning department. Ms. Hoffman has shouldered a lot of responsibility and a lot of work. It's been done and done a very good job of moving that department forward. She has also indicated she is willing to continue to act in that capacity as far as helping with the building applications and moving the work forward as we go through a transitionary period. We are awaiting a third-party information for cost and things associated with that to know exactly what that transition is. When we receive that information, we'll bring that to the commission.
Will that then need a vote when that comes to the commission? Then what would we be voting on?
Tonight, what you would be voting on is an interim zoning administrator that Ms. Hoffman has been filling that role. Again, the county engineer, Sean Yates, has indicated he would be willing to serve in that capacity. So that's the only thing that you're voting on tonight.
Okay, Commissioner McCurdy and then Commissioner Hadeen.
Twofold. During this discussion, what are we Did we get an update? I thought it was the end of last month. We were supposed to get an update from your office on.
Yes, the process with Slavin is in draft form that we received today. Want to be careful about draft forms at this point, but we are very close to providing you a list of names through the consultant.
Thanks. Like to make a motion. I move to approve county engineer Sean Yates to the interim zoning administrative position.
Motion by Commissioner McCurdy, second by Commissioner Martinez. We will open it up for discussion. Commissioner Hadeen and then Commissioner McCurdy and then Commissioner McGann.
And so I did ask for all of the comments that were made surrounding this, including from the last time that this was on the agenda to be included in the packet. I asked multiple times. I never received a response and they're not in the packet. So my email is thadeen@grandcountyutah.gov. I just feel like people don't maybe know that. I don't know. I keep sending out emails. If you guys aren't getting my emails, that's concerning to me and I can talk to Matt about it. But I think that those should have been in the packet and they weren't. I think I was able to fix issues because we kept within the agenda packet calling it the director. And the county commission has no authority to remove the planning and zoning director. Just so you guys are clear, under Grand County Land Use Code 8.3, the zoning administrator is appointed by, directed by, and serves at the pleasure of the county commission, not the zoning and planning and zoning director. So just to make that very clear, and that was not what was in the packet. So I had some issues with that. I'll try to be very brief. We have the building department is in complete disarray. I've had contractors calling me now for a couple weeks. They cannot get inspections. And specifically, Bill knows this. If you're rolling on a house and you, let's say, get the electrical in, you need it inspected right away so that you can move on to insulation and sheetrock and keep your workers working. I literally had a contractor say that he said an electrical inspection was 3 weeks out. And so I said, you need to start calling county admin. And I believe that he started doing that. I went in and talked to Bill Hulse and he said that he'd been working with Bill Winfield in reorganizing that department and moving to contract services. It's not working. And I'm using that as an example because now we're moving into having a planning and zoning department that won't be working. We cannot continue to have departments disrupted by county commissioners and become basically ineffective with fractured services. This has a lot to do with our economy. You know, I have a lot of friends that are contractors, and they're reaching out to me going, what is happening at the county? I think, questions that were asked by both myself and citizens are, why? Why is this happening? Who asked for this? That was asked multiple times and we still have nobody can give the why and who requested this. I have asked, and I'm asking this, especially hearing from you, Mark, to say, yeah, we have a list from Slavin. We're going to be rolling here. Why would we not simply leave her in place to keep stability within that department until somebody is hired and she can assist in that transition? To me, this is a really poor move, And then I want to make it clear that the fiscal impacts for hiring outside help from Horrocks is large. I had Gabe pull the last invoice from me from June to July. The average price per hour is $234 to $253 per hour to have people from Horrocks assisting. It's costing the county currently, but it's going to cost us dearly to start shoving more work at Horrocks when we have a perfectly capable individual in place that can move those things forward. And then lastly, I want to state that and I appreciate, you know, Mel, I talked to you about this today and I really appreciate your input. I think Chrissy was treated very poorly in this process. The fact that she was not notified and she found out via an agenda item, when you have a longstanding employee that works, I can't even tell you how hard she works. Anytime I send a text, an email, and this will come from any planning commissioner too, doesn't matter day or night, weekend or not, she answers. And so I'm really disheartened at how we're treating dedicated staff at this county level. And it was a simple, somebody dropped the ball along the way and she should have been notified. But the reality is it should never have happened. This shouldn't be happening. This is political. And it's too bad because it's going to put a department in great jeopardy. And I'm not picking on you, Sean. Please take that. This has nothing to do with you. I believe in you, but to me, it's why would we rattle a cage that doesn't need to be rattled? And again, our building department is in trouble. Our building department's in trouble. And just so you guys are aware of that, things are not happening effectively and efficiently with outside contractors. So if we need to revisit that, we may need to revisit that. But we have contractors calling me going, what is going on? And to me, which I'm fine with, but I wanted to pass that information. These are hardworking individuals that are trying to make a living, very small crews in this community. They can't wait 3 weeks for an electrical inspection. Can't happen. And so then to destabilize our planning and zoning department, I think it's a really bad move and commissioners need to start staying out of these departments' business. I don't know how else to say. Okay, I'm done.
Commissioner McCurdy, Commissioner McGann, then Commissioner McCandless.
Yes. Not only P and Z. I don't know the proper wording, P and Z top. The application is coming for that. Will you please notify us P and Z 1, P and Z 2?
Yes.
Right below that, as soon as I'd like that information if everyone else would like that.
What are you asking, Mike? The applicants?
Yeah, I'd like to see who's applying for top, mid, bottom.
All right, Commissioner McGann.
I find this incredibly upsetting. I object to it on procedural, financial, and ethical reasons. Procedurally, under our policies and procedures, the commission appoints the planning commission administrator. That's kind of what we're doing tonight, but at the same time, we're in a sense replacing the planning department administrator. If we all follow our own procedures, we can replace the zoning administrator interpreting land use codes, but not the head of the planning department. In hopefully a couple months or so, we will be finding a permanent planning director. Right now, we have one person is doing the planning director's job, the associated planner, and the planning one. No matter how capable you are, when you get a new job, you have a learning curve. It takes you a while to learn that job. So why would we replace a person right now when we're planning to hire a permanent person? And then they have that learning curve and they have to figure it out and they have to do the job. And then we turn around and 2-3 months later, we do the same thing again. And so things slow down because of the learning curve. I think it is, I think it's, and the reason the policies do not give the commission the authority to fire staff. Rather, a commission administrator is hired by the commission and administrator to handle the day-to-day operations of the county, including the hiring and firing of staff. If a commission had the authority to fire members of the county staff, the staff's feelings of job security would be destroyed because they would be adjusting to new administration every 2 years. Plus, they would you choose to work for an organization where they may face the humiliation of being publicly let go of or removed from the position that they are holding? This, in my opinion, this agenda item goes against our policies and procedures. Secondly, I object to it because it's going to be costly. It costs $235 to $500 an hour to contract with Horrocks. And it's going to take them 40 hours a week to do work. That's a huge amount of money. And finally, and most importantly, what is happening with this agenda item is unethical. Our county, under this commission administrator's leadership, has hit an all-time low. They are creating a hostile, toxic work environment for all staff, but especially for the women working in this county. There has been a minimum of 8 capable women leave this county because of harassment from some of our commissioners. 8. 4 of them. Mallory Nassau, Tammy Howard, Holland,
Chair.
Sky White, and Tara Collins.
Yes, sir.
If the commission wants to go into closed session, I'd encourage it to go into closed session.
Choosing to be
Miriam, our county attorney is advising.
I would encourage my commissioners, they are agents of the county. And they need to be cautious about the statements that they make. These
I
are,
won't go any further, but I've had a number of people come to me. These people have said they are happy to have their names used, but there are other people who have left and resigned because they have felt they've been harassed. I myself, as a female commissioner, would have resigned last spring if I had run as a Democrat rather than an independent or unaffiliated. Why? Because I'm tired. I'm tired of the hostile environment. I'm tired of having to hold my hand up and say I deserve to be spoken to in an appropriate manner. I think we are moving into what we're doing is hurting the county on so many levels. And it doesn't look good. I hope the county commission decides to do what is right and not vote in favor of this unethical agenda item.
Commissioner McCandless is next. Commissioner Martinez, I think, and then I know that Commissioner McCurdy would like to speak also.
I'd like to speak also.
As well as Jacques.
So when Chrissy was put in place as the planning and zoning administrator, not director, it was a vote. And at that time, we didn't have anybody in any of those departments. I think she's done an amazing job. She's gone far and above the planning and zoning administrator job and working in those director positions, which she's not the director. She's not hired as the director. So we're not demoting her as the director. That's not the ask. There's a lot of things that I wish have gone differently with Chrissy and, but she is just one in a long line of chaotic and high-level staff departures since November of 2020. So since 2020, numerous people have left the planning and zoning department, creating chaos, and we spent a lot of money on contractors and outsourcing work that would be unnecessary if we had an updated land use code. And so, Chrissy stated to colleagues, coworkers, administration, and the media that she's overworked, stretched thin, and cannot focus on the important work of the land use code update and the RFP. And, you know, she's needed back in the attorney's office. We've had emails from the county attorney's office. So based on those factors, you know, this is our plan to appoint Sean to manage the day-to-day and keep the office functioning as that administrator role until the new director's in place. And we're going to stick to the plan to overhaul the land use code based on the amended 2030 general plan and get that done as fast as possible. You know, we have CZB that did the future land use map. We could continue with them for the land use code. But we've got to move forward with this land use code, and it's not happening right now with the way that our planning and zoning administration is. And for that, you know, I think those are the reasons we're moving forward with this. You know, I think Chrissy's done a really good job. She's gone above and beyond the things that she is supposed to do in that position. But I know that we need her back in the county attorney's office.
Commissioner Martinez.
Yeah, no, I've worked with Chrissy for a couple of times. We worked on the HDHO, and I thought we worked really well on that. You know, I've worked with her we started off on the MFR 45, and we've had some heated discussions between the two of us as well. But that has nothing to do with this. I think that that has nothing to do with the shock. The fact is that we do have Sean Yates in that department right now, and that Chrissy is needed inside of Stephen's office. That's her position, and that's where she belongs. I did talk to Mark, and while I'm very grateful that she took over that role, she was never assigned to the director role of the planning and zoning. Right? She took that on her own. So saying that we're removing her from a position that was never really offered to her, I don't think is a fair statement that was made tonight. I do agree a lot with what Melody said. You know, and it was at that last planning and zoning meeting that I attended. You know, that and I did look into it. The idea of updating this land use code, I think, is very important, and I'd like to see us try to make some strides to getting that done. Not saying that I don't still want to work on some other issues, right? But I do think that this should be one of our number one priorities. You know, I did not have anything to do with the general plan. I didn't write it, right? I, you know, reviewed it, and you know, it's fine. I'm okay with everything that's in there. You know, I've reviewed the land use map that went in the future land use map, and to say that I was involved with it, it was just that I came to an open house of it. Right, but I am willing to allow to go with those things, not try to make changes to those, but to develop a land use code that will go ahead and support these two documents. Because I think that that's one of the reasons that we have such problems inside of that department, is that we don't have the documents, and everything has to come to us right up at the commission level because we're making changes without the code. So I'd like to see us go ahead and make that a priority and start being able to move these type of things through. You know, one of the suggestions, I know that was it, CBZ was the company that went ahead and did our future land use map. I think that we could investigate looking at them and using them to basically finish up the job on this. I went back as well and started looking at this, and this has been a problem for a long time. It's been 15 years since we've had an overhaul on our land use code. That's a long time. Right? These things are supposed to be reviewed and redone, kept up with, and we haven't kept up with what we need to do. And, you know, to say and to blame all of these people that have left on a new commissioner, it's not fair. Not my circus, not my monkeys, right? I didn't come here and start just going ahead and laying people off, right? This is a systemic problem that started way back, right? And we need to go ahead and finish the job so that that department can go ahead and, you know, start functioning the way that it's supposed to function.
Mike. I think it was him before me, just to let you know.
Okay.
I'm coming up second round here.
I keep hearing people saying that we're doing this because she's overworked and the attorney's office needs her again. If that's the case, and it might be the case, why don't you just start with the conversation, Chrissy? Like, what's wrong with that? Like, don't you go to somebody and say, how do you feel about this? You're saying things have been reported in the press. I mean, to me, that's just courtesy. It's just everything. Like that's the conversation you start with. Instead, we're kicking sand in her face in a public meeting. That's unethical. That's crazy. We shouldn't be here. I mean, this is We're gonna have another planning and zoning director in a couple of months. I don't know. It just sits so poorly. And the other thing, I just ask Sean if you realize what a lightning rod this position is, Sean, because I have faith in you too. I think you're capable of doing a good job, but this is a tough position. Good luck.
I think it's me now.
Please, and then Commissioner Hadeen.
90% of this conversation, both Sean, Chrissy, should have been held in closed session. Speaking about policy, we should have went to closed session. Thank you guys for sitting in. Sorry, it's during a public meeting. We talk about personnel matters in closed session, so it doesn't intentionally hurt people, regardless of outcome. We put it in closed session. That's why they exist.
Commissioner Hadeen.
Brian, thank you. I am ecstatic to hear that you think the land use code is a priority now. And unfortunately, you know, that was one of the things that we were gonna do in the next couple of weeks, is have a joint meeting. Because the planning commission was really starting to push back against things that were being pushed at them. And they said, they were like, time out. We really want to meet with the county commission and have an understanding of what are the priorities, right? And how do we facilitate those priorities? So again, another thing that I think we should leave Chrissy in place and allow that meeting to happen. So then we have a general, like, okay, we can all confer on or collaborate on what we feel are priorities. And I want to say, Brian, we have been working on it. We had to update the general plan, which took, you know, quite a while. We had to update the future land use map and the future land use plan. So we have been in process. And they're lengthy processes, a ton of public meetings. You said you went to one of them. You know, it's a long process. And the last piece of that was the land use code, right? And that falls on us. The last commission has been working on these other pieces. It's not like it sat flailing. We've been working. And so we're the last piece to that. And you both sat in that meeting and hopefully understood. I think it was made really clear by multiple planning commissioners that it is a fractured document that is no longer working, right? So you pull one thread and all of a sudden it's like you come to this dead end. And so I'm really happy to hear that that's a priority to you, because it's been a priority. I've said that to both of you multiple times, like, time out, we need to get the land use code updated, right? And I agree. I think we could work on a few small things. We actually have some state mandate ordinance updates that we have to have done by the end of 25. To me, that's probably priority number one, trumping MFR 45, trumping all these other things. We have state legislative mandates that have to get done. That's probably where, you know, we start there and then we do the trickle down. And again, in a collaborative meeting, we can kind of like, we can parse that out. What are our priorities? But I would ask that we wait until minimum till we have that meeting so that we can collaborate with the two commissions, we can come together. And I'm not going to keep beating the other drums. I'm really thinking about the effectiveness, the efficiency of this department, and as it relates to our community in general.
Melody, and then I'm gonna wrap it up and call for a vote.
Didn't we talk about an agenda review, putting that next meeting as a workshop with planning and zoning?
We don't have anything set in stone.
We don't have anything set in stone. So how do we make that decision?
Chairs, and best practice would be for the chairs to communicate about how they want to organize that, set up an agenda, and then just pick a date that all 7 of you guys can be at. There's 2 different ways to do it. You could do it on a commission day. You could do it on planning commission day. Both are options.
I think we talked about doing it on a commission day, our next commission day.
Yeah, if you don't have, if
we don't have any other workshops on that day.
Well, I was saying that if we don't have, we have people to put it on a commission day. You've got comm admin, but you could do either one. Best practice, and talk to your
chairs
on that.
And then just a question on that. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sure, Brian.
Yeah.
Good.
So we do have it in budget for this to be contracted out.
What's this?
I'm sorry, the
Land use code update.
land use code
Yes.
update is what we're talking about. It is within budget. And we do have a organization that has done a ton of planning, would probably be up to speed on this. What would the policy be with, to just hire CBZ to finish?
CZE.
CZE, yeah, sorry, to finish the land use code.
We have to,
Do we have to suspend policy?
Well, either
on
if,
the fee?
either you're gonna put it out for a bid or you're gonna look for a basis to not have, if you're looking for sole source or something else, then you'll have to go through the bid process. Unless there's an exception that applies.
Okay.
And that would be, well, yeah.
I'll speak to the budget for one. I know that's a huge concern for some people and that's a political statement in itself, but there's plenty of money left in the budget in this department for several reasons. Could be because of people that have been fleeing the ship, so to speak, for the last 4+ years, 6 years, back to November 2020. I asked for a list of all the people and there's a dozen that have left since 2020. And I know that we want to point out that it's a terrible environment here for employees under the current leadership. But Commissioner Martinez made the statement, and not my circus, not my monkey. It was created by the previous leadership that found us in the position we're in right now. That leadership puts so much pressure on both of those departments over there to come into line and approve or disapprove or go with anything that they could possibly think to stop the Cane Creek development. That pressure was put on. We saw it affect multiple directors in that department that left, and I'm not here to name them. We need to go into a closed session if we're going to do that. I'm in total agreement with Mike that we need to quit airing our dirty laundry that should be in closed session here and step the level of professionalism up. But this leadership problem has existed for 6+ years, and that means that it's on some of your shoulders, and you can keep pointing the finger, but over a dozen employees in those two departments have left prior to my taking the chair this year. The budget over there, I don't know what kind of money that there is that they have left over there, but the fact that they haven't had employees for the last 8 months would suggest that we have enough to get through a little bit of time here with Horrocks until we make this change. And that's just the direction that I believe we need to go. I'm in total agreement. We need to get this land use code done and move forward. We've got some other things. We've got some small items that also need to be moved forward that the commission would like to see done on a rather quick basis. The landscape ordinance is one of them. We have people wasting water, waiting for that one-page ordinance to be pushed through. We have people wasting water. And then we have commissioners in here that are fighting a one-page ordinance to be pushed through for political reasons. And then on the other hand, we have all kinds of water meetings about how we want to stop development across the entire county based off of water. So political, this is definitely political up here. This has been political for a long time and it'll probably continue to be so, but the previous leadership has a track record that is dismal. And what we're trying to do is bring a little bit of calm and chaos back to this, and that's what we're going to do moving forward. And sometimes it isn't easy. It's not easy, and that's where we find ourselves. I have nothing against Ms. Hoffine or the job she's doing. What I do want to do is bring some direction and move forward in this county, and that's going to take a little bit of effort on all of our parts to do so. And as we have a motion on the table, I believe was it Commissioner McCurdy and seconded by Commissioner Martinez to change the interim zoning administrator position from Ms. Hoffine to Mr. Yates. I will call for a vote on that. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion passes 4-3. Commissioner Hadeen, Commissioner Hadler, and Commissioner McGann against. And we will move on to the next item.
We postpone this item.
Okay, what do we got here?
This, I haven't been able to get it to you guys, to drop, Commissioner Hadler, and Commissioner Winfield, for your guys' final approval, and so it's a little bit, hardy, so I apologize for that delay.
All right, with that, we will then move on to what would be our regular commission reports here and elected official reports and the commission administrator report. And I think with those all being in the packet for the public to go in and look at, that we will skip this and move on to what I see as an update on the bike path progress, and then we will go into closed session regarding pending or reasonably imminent litigation. Yes, sir. Mr. Yates, if you want to come up and help us out with that bike path. I know that you and I and multiple people have been involved in that, but we'll help you with what parts that we have a part of as well.
Yeah, so just a little background on the bike path project. Back in 2018, Grant County applied for a $10 million grant for a parking facility downtown Moab. And because of public outcry, that didn't end up coming to fruition. As a result, Grand County petitioned UDOT to retain some of those funds for some projects. 3 projects were recommended for that. The one that was the apparent one that UDOT went with and Grand County went with was Spanish Valley multi-use bike path, multi-use path, not just for bikes, skateboards, strollers, whatever, to encourage active transportation. The limits of the project are from Mill Creek Drive to Pat Creek. It's a 10-foot wide path that is separated from the traveled way by 5 feet. We're within a couple weeks of having final plans on that, which allows the right-of-way acquisition agents to, I'm sorry.
Oh, right-of-way acquisition agents? I already spoke to Mr. Stocks about this a little bit too. In that conversation, if you need, it is very much my district. I ran that district. I did knock on 90% of those doors. I would love to be that person to help you in that right-of-way acquisition if you need a commissioner. So
I think much of that's already really become evident. Only 5 of the properties are over a $10,000 valuation, which requires to go into appraisal. So I'm sure the public and your constituents in that district appreciate you doing the work to kind of pave the way for that.
Yep.
That's really good. I haven't heard of anyone who's in opposition to the project. I think it's a great project. It's sad to see that the bottle wall may have to move or maybe be parts of it taken out, but perhaps we can retain that. So the project budget, of course, costs of everything are going up. It's gone up 16% from 2024 estimate to 2025 estimate. I think a big part of that is probably Jones and the Mills' desire to be conservative in their estimate. So when we get the plans and the specs here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to take a closer look at those unit bid prices and see what might come in. We're hoping to be going out to advertisement approximately a year from now, which should yield some good bids, probably more bids. Given the fact that contractors do their planning 6 months to 12 months out in advance. Let's see what else we have here. Environmental, sounds like much of the environmental work's been done up front from a public involvement standpoint, just by word of mouth. This is a great active transportation community, variety of different types of transportation, mainly bicycles and walking, running, so forth. We're expecting that this would be completed by late 2027. I don't believe it'll take more than 4 or 5 months to construct. See what else. That's most of the stuff that, knowledge I have, but just not a whole lot.
Doc and then Trish.
Yeah, thanks. This is honestly, this is the most progress that we've seen since I've been involved since I started on this. This is a long time coming. But I definitely appreciate this report. It's great. And just to be clear, so that the project estimates to get us down to Pat Creek, which is basically Beaman, right? Beaman Drive, right? Okay. And then I know Bill sent out an email, so we do have a funding shortfall compared to the hotspot funding that we originally got from UDOT. And I think we should make it a priority, start looking for further funding for this project. However that looks, we have a great, our GCAT, our Grand County Active Transportation and Trails Department is really good at securing funding through various loans or grants, and otherwise. So working with them, and we've had a working group here. Bill and myself have been on it, along with the previous engineer and the road head and Maddie at GCAT, and I think getting those meetings going on a regular basis again and talking about continuing to secure funding would be essential. And then also I would love to continue to look at pushing the path down from Beaman to the county line. I think there's going to be a lot of people who there's a lot of housing coming on down in that part of the county as well. And from previous conversations with folks in San Juan County, I think there's an appetite to continue the path down there. There's some neighborhoods coming on in San Juan County. And I remember having a conversation with the administrator down there about eventually even pushing it down to the new Mud Springs Trail system. I think that would benefit everyone in the community. Thanks.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, I will work with Maddie on additional funding sources. We'll know then the specific amount we have. What I understand from Gabe is 2.7 million, which puts us at a 1.6 shortfall. We do have $200,000 for change order contingency in the project. But I feel like the project has been estimated conservatively. And if we can just go after some additional funding, I don't know if there's been bike crashes out there where we could maybe get some safety funds.
There was,
There was.
just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Not to cut in.
It's not good. I mean, but it's another source of funding. It's more of a reactive program, these safety programs.
Commissioner Hadeen and then Commissioner.
You have to save the bottle wall. You have to save the bottle wall.
We have to.
I know you have
We
to.
were brainstorming how we might do what left in.
Right.
That.
I was just looking at that today, like, that's such a cool wall.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just right there at the top of the hill. You guys know what I'm talking about.
It's my daughter-in-law made it.
Across from Taylor's.
Pretty, yeah.
It's awesome. It's beautiful. Yeah,
She saved,
across from Taylor's, yes.
saved.
Right there by the Tendix, right?
And
Yes.
and Winter.
Mr. McCurdy.
Quick, in talking with that working group, also, are we not able to look to some of our TRT funds in the near future for trail creation? Isn't that one of?
I'm not, I would have to defer to Commissioner Martinez or
Oh, yeah,
the Moab Office of Tourism to see.
Yeah, it would fall under the trails. So it could fall under trails. It could also fall under option sales tax as well, which is for multimodal transportation. So those are two funds.
But
Yeah.
that's mitigation, not promotion, right?
I don't want to bother the mitigation.
And then one other thing, I do have a question for Commissioner Winfield. Is this the type of project that CIB would look to fund or help fund with gap funding of some sort?
They would look at it. They typically like to look at infrastructure. I'm not gonna say that this isn't infrastructure. There's definitely a big portion of the storm drainage portion of this that is going to solve some problems for everybody from Arroyo Crossing to the bottom of the hill that have been flooded for the last few years because of the runoff through Arroyo. So there's possibility and would certainly be worth bringing to the board for sure.
Or outdoor recreation, right, grants, which.
Or yes, Jacques.
Yeah, the UDOT trail initiative that they did last year that's funding the, you know, the portion of the bike path up to Utah State Raptor as well as closing the gap. If they're gonna continue with that program, I think that's probably our best source. And they might even fund it all the way down to the county line. I mean, they funded that gap at what, Bill, was it 10 million or something like that? It was.
Yeah, it was literally 10 million, and then I think 2.5 came from UDOT to.
That's right.
Excuse me, from 2.5 came from ORI and 10 million from UDOT for that project, so.
10 could probably get us pretty close to the county line anyway.
Yeah, I would think so. It's definitely worth asking. It is also worth considering just because of the utilities that are involved on the project for that storm drain issue, because that's somewhat of a, I don't know, I want to say it's a liability. The attorney's not here, but there is a issue that we're trying to resolve at the same time we build the bike path through there with storm water runoff.
It could be some economy of scale, do the roadway at the same time, roadway drainage, separate the path. You know, maybe even up some other opportunities for funding.
Nice to have a topic we can all get behind.
Yeah. Well, I think that if we get this land acquisition out of the way is the big thing. And even if we get past that, why then some construction can actually start, and that
That'll get everyone excited.
there's nothing that we can do until that happens, so. Yes, Trish.
Brian just left, but you know, when I was on the GWISA board, I know that they've talked extensively about extending their irrigation lines, and I you know, I think if we get to that close point, it might be good to collaborate with GWISA, because if they could lay them underneath that path, right? Anyways, just some collaboration with them just to see if that could be feasible anyways. And I'd mentioned that to Ben quite a long time ago. So I think it'd be interesting just to reach out to GWISA and see where they're at, and they might be able to even, like, you never know, kick in.
But I know they're working with Jones and DeMille on that already, because the storm drain had to be moved because their water line was in the way. So
Right.
I know that Jones is
Yes.
working with
Okay,
us
great.
because of the
That's awesome.
utilities through there, but it certainly doesn't hurt to remind them that there's possibility is if they have anything in the future, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
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 This one's a real easy, all hands on deck. I mean, anything we could work towards, we will.
We're all in favor of this one politically.
Yes. Very much so.
Makes things easier.
All right, we appreciate you hanging in there for that. And I would say then that we are looking for a motion to go into closed session.
Motion to go into closed session pending or reasonable imminent litigation.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes 6 with 1 absent. Commissioner Martinez will be back. All right, let's take a.
Larry, it's good to see you made it off that river.
Here.
Good to see you made it off the river.
One more time.